Chapter 121. Still want to run. Ha, ha. Rumble. Such sounds are endless in the misty and misty woods. When a cricket in black was kicked out by Yi Chen, he also killed this misty and miscellaneous forest, and there were at least a dozen human-level crickets along the way. Okay. Yi Chen was about to take a step, but found that the land under his feet was actually moving, forming a quagmire at a speed that is visible to the naked eye. This quagmire has the ability to constrain people's actions and restricts his actions. Dead. Before Yi Chen got out of the quagmire, he heard a grinning laughter on the oblique side, followed by even a purple light sword. Can't you wait to get started with me? Yi Chen sneered, even though he blocked Tianjian's sword in front of him. LB. That purple light swordman hit the heavens firmly, but this also helped Yi Chen, because the purple light swordman hit the heavens, which allowed Yi Chen to escape from the quagmire easily. Zon lay knife. Just out of the quagmire, Yi Chen hadn't stabilized yet, and another man Ling Tian chopped down a sword. As this planned early, Yi Chen didn't dare to care. Although the four of them are the strongest and only have the peak of the human realm, if they cooperate with each other, Rao is also in danger of overturning the boat in the gutter. LB. Blocked once again with the heavens, Yi Chen was almost kneeled on the ground by that knife. Jinghong's swordsmanship. Sure enough, the third person hidden in the dark shot, and a sword glowing with icy swords pierced the air, approaching Yi Chen's chest. Yuquan thundering. The fourth person also appeared, one finger pointed out from behind Yi Chen, accompanied by thunder. If you were to become a general disciple of peak condensate, in this situation will kill the game, feel no chance of life. However, Yi Chen is not a peak disciple of ordinary condensed gas, he can defeat a purple shirt that stepped into the real sun, let alone these few disciples of the Yuan dynasty who have not yet become a complete climate. Tiana sword formation. Between the electric light and the flint, Yi Chen turned his hands to sacrifice the Qishao sword. LB. LB. As the sparks came out, the attacks from several parties were all blocked by the Templar sword formation. It's my turn. Stabilizing the formation, Yi Chen Qishao sword waved sharply and pointed at one of them. Suddenly, the wind raged, and the defensive sword array of Tiana became an attacking sword array in an instant, and a series of fierce sword shadows flew out to form a sword array and went straight to the disciple. When he saw this, the disciple was discolored, his hands hurriedly moved his fingerprints, and a thick shield of armor gathered in front of himself. LB. LB. Tiana's attacking sword array was unparalleled and overpowered, breaking the shield, and even the disciple was pierced through several blood holes. Retreat. Seeing Yi Chen's strength, the four of them went backwards. Even the inevitable killing round failed to kill Yi Chen. If they confronted each other, even if they cooperated, they would lose miserably. Want to run? Yi Chen stepped forward, his fingers lingered with gold light, and a yang finger pointed out on the spot. Puff. Suddenly, the back of the disciple in white in the back was poked out of a blood hole on the spot. In this short period of time, Yi Chen had killed the past with mysterious steps, and Ben Lei burst out with a strong force. Puff. Once again, the disciple was knocked out by the shock. Seeing this, the other three showed fear and dared not run to the rescue, each running faster than the rabbit. Pack up for you sooner or later. Yi Chen did not go after him, but came to the disciple who had just been knocked down by him with great interest. It is also a coincidence that this disciple still knew him, but Di Yangfeng, a true disciple who is not low in cultivation, seems to be called Li Yuliang. Yi Chen, what are you doing? Li Yuliang retreated and looked at Yi Chen with a look of horror. Although he did not have a deep relationship with Yi Chen, he knew that Yi Chen's nature was definitely a revenge. The Lord. I don't want to do anything. Yi Chen smirked, rubbing his hands and walking forward. What, soon? Li Yuliang was crying. Look at Li Yuliang at this time. Oh. The shape is called miserable. The treasures carried by him were all cleaned up by Yi Chen, and even his whole clothes were cut off, leaving only a floral pants on his lower body. Yi Chen, how dare you? Snapped. But in response to Li Yuliang, Yi Chen slapped his head and covered his face. Li Yuliang, who was about to pounce at the last moment, was blinded by Yi Chen at this moment. After fainting Li Yuliang, Yi Chen immediately moved his handprints with his hands, and then turned around in the same place, change. Suddenly, Yi Chen was full of white mist, and his form changed at the same time. It turned out to be exactly like Li Yuliang. I didn't know that Li Yuliang was still awake at this time, and she would have a look like that. Boy, take a good sleep here. Yi Chen patted Li Yuliang lying on the ground like a dead pig, then turned and left, not forgetting to take a scent of incense to Li Yuliang before leaving. Walking for a long time again, Yi Chen never found the three men who had fled before. Shu knew that Yi Chen wasn't able to compete with them. The three of them simply didn't ambush again to conceal Yi Chen. None of the four had been able to win Yi Chen, let alone the three of them. Roar, roar, roar. I do not know when. One after another roared the beasts roar, so Yi Chen could not help but look sideways. Boom. Shu was so concerned about the monsters around him that Yi Chen didn't realize that he had stepped on something he shouldn't step on, and the whole person was blown out on the spot. He had just landed and hadn't waited for him to respond. There were glowing long arrows flying in all directions. Yi Chen responded quickly, took out his red sword, turned his arms sharply, and shot down the long arrows. However, before it was finished, he just shot down the flying sword that came from his forefoot, and the ground was buzzing. Then, a spear with a black light pierced the ground, a large net with aura of light falling down from his head, and a giant monster in the distance roared his body. This barren forest is full of pits. Yi Chen cursed involuntarily. First, he leapt up, and the Qishao sword waved, flattening the spear protruding from the ground, turning the sword and splitting the big net again. Roar. When the monster arrived, he opened his mouth on the spot. Ben Lei. Yi Chen did not retreat. Ben Lei smashed the blood of the monster with the palm of his hand, and then a mountain fist smashed onto the monster's huge skull, and the monster's skull exploded on the spot. Already. Perhaps the **** blood spread so fast that it attracted more monsters. I don't have time to play with you. Yi Chen didn't want to waste too much time here. Yi Chen was left in his left hand and Kai Shao in his right hand. He rushed all the way. The monsters that came over were split in half by his sword. The law trap was also skillfully avoided by using the mysterious steps of the Speed Shadow 1000 fantasy. After rushing for nearly half an hour, Yi Chen stopped. In front of him, a group of 7 or 8 people appeared in his eyes, but looking at their robes, Yi Chen could recognize that it was not the disciple who was outside, but the disciple who was near the barren forest to test the disciple. Meet so soon, Yi Chen muttered in a low voice, but still came pretending to be Wei Nuo. Stop. Seeing Yi Chen approaching, the inner disciple, wearing a purple dress, could not help but whispered. Every, brothers, my name is Li Yuliang, and I am a disciple of Di Yangfeng outside. Yi Chen nodded and bowed. He was smart, knowing that the name of Ti Di Yangfeng is far more than the name of Ti Ling Dan Jie in this barren forest. Make it easier. Here, the disciple Z has taken out a stack of scrolls and turned it over a few times before finding one out, and that one is exactly the portrait of Li Yuliang. Seeing this, Yi Chen could not help but sighed. Secretly said that the inner disciples' preparation work was quite comprehensive, but all the disciples who entered the barren forest had their records here. You are alone. After finishing the scroll, the disciple in Z glanced at Yi Chen. I'm behind. Yi Chen smiled awkwardly. Have you ever seen Yi Chen? Disciple Z asked again. Chapter 122, Tolls. Behind. Trapped in the formation trap. Yi Chen hurriedly pointed behind him, which was a speech he had prepared for a long time. The disciple Z glanced at Yi Chen and said, Brother Kong Sao has explained that we will not embarrass Yangfeng's disciples, but brothers rarely come in once, but we see and go back empty-handed. I understand. Yi Chen nodded, but still handed a storage bag, right as a toll. He wasn't afraid of the 7 or 8 people in front of him. If he fought openly, he would never be afraid of these people. He wouldn't even look at them if he didn't have a real son. However, even if he is not afraid of these people, he will not be able to bring them all down in a short period of time. If he makes a noise and brings Kong Sao to them, that is by no means what he wants to see. He can pass by without a knife. Some money. Let's go. After receiving Yi Chen's storage bag, the disciple in purple clothes should first go in the direction that Yi Chen pointed to before. Listen to my brother, that Yi Chen is very cunning, and he will give me spirit and catch there are rewards for Yi Chen. Quote, as the disciple of the inner door all pig-headed, looking at the back of several people, Yi Chen could not help but touch his chin. If they are so foolish as they are, Lao Su will easily enter the inner door. It's better to leave quickly. It won't be long before they return. Going is the best policy. At last glance behind him, Yi Chen disappeared here. Next, he met several more people. As Yi Chen thought, in the test of the barren forest, the name of T. D. Yongfeng is definitely better than the name of T. Ling Dan Pavilion. The most important thing is that one of the leaders led by this time is Kong Sao. He used to be a true disciple of Yangfeng Diamond. Because of this relationship, he had already ordered him to go down, and could not embarrass Yandi's disciples. It was also because Kong Sao did a good job for Di Yangfeng's disciples early. Yi Chen's journey was exceptionally smooth, but he spent a little money and easily passed. In front of him, there are several disciples inside. Yi Chen raised her eyebrows, but still found a storage bag from her arms. Hello brothers, I'm from Yangfeng outside. He smiled and said. Yi Chen had already put up the storage bag. 1,000 spirit stones, thin meaning, please smile. Okay, the leader is a young man in white with a folding fan. His face is white, with willow eyebrows and Danfang eyes. His mouth is not big and his lips are not thick. He is definitely a mean one. He is full of femininity, like a girl. Then I passed, Yi Chen said, and he was about to walk over. May I let you go? The youth in white stretched out a folding fan to block Yi Chen's way. I paid the money, others can pay, but you can't. The youth in white's slender eyes glowed with drama, looking at Yi Chen with interest. I don't recognize you as you look like Li Yuliang anymore. Quote, I don't understand what the brother said. Yi Chen pretended to be confused, pretending to be deaf. Upon hearing this, the disciple in white smiled even better. Li Yuliang is the seventh most important element in the human world. Even if you can become his form, can you imitate the seventh most cultivation of others? Speaking of this, the disciples in white clothes were immersed in playful smiles, and then they did not forget to reach Yi Chen's ears, and said with a playful smile, I'm right, brother Yi Chen. Yi Chen, is he Yi Chen? Although the disciples in white were quiet, they were heard by several people around them. Suddenly, several people separated and encircled Yi Chen around the center. Each breath climbed up, and there was a stance to win Yi Chen in one fell swoop. It seems that the disciples of the inner door are not all pig brains. The identity was dismantled. Yi Chen pulled out her ears, and changed to her own appearance. Sure enough, I often walk by the river. Yi Chen never thought that he would pass the test so easily, and God would always make up all sorts of nonsense for him. And now he was recognized, which was completely within his expectation. No wonder he hasn't heard from Yi Chen for so long. It turned out he was transformed. It really looked down on him. Fortunately, it was recognized by brother Yangwei, otherwise he must have been confused by this kid. Yang. Yi Chen couldn't help but look at the disciple in white who knew who he was. No wonder she's like a girl. Knowing Yi Chen was scolding him, but the white disciple named Yang Wei was not angry, but just shook the folding fan gently and looked at Yi Chen with interest. Boy, are you surrendering? We help you. Quote, I surrender. Yi Chen immediately raised his hands. That's right. Yang Wei smiled quietly, and then winked at a disciple. The disciple would understand, and took out a bundle of fairy rope from the storage bag on the spot, and bound Yi Chen on the spot. The outside door passed you so evil that it wasn't caught by us. The disciple sneered forward. I'll go for you. Yi Chen, who was still standing for the last moment, suddenly moved and kicked the disciple out, and then an ape jumped out of the siege of the crowd. I knew you wouldn't be submissive. Yang Wei sneered. A big bow was like a full moon, and a long arrow glowing on the cold had already been placed on it, and before he shot it, he could hear the howling sound. Although Yang Wei was a mother, she shot fiercely and showed no mercy, and shot a sharp arrow like Yi Yu toward Yi Chen. Feeling that his back was cold, Yi Chen stepped on the mysterious steps of Shuoying Thousand Fantasy, making a fierce maneuver, avoiding the sharp arrow, and then quickly jumped out. However, he still underestimated the arrow. Although he avoided it, the long arrow seemed to be spiritual and even chased behind his ass. Zan Zhang heard arrow. Yi Chen seems to have heard the secret of this arrow, not that the arrow shot is spiritual, but that the long arrow was branded at the moment it was shot. Once shot, unless it hits, otherwise it won't stop. You sissy, look down on you. Yi Chen stopped abruptly, the red rainbow in his sleeve came out, and turned into a red sword. Tiana sword formation. As the Qishao sword was waved very close, the defensive sword formation of the Tiana became LB. Zan Zhang's wind fighting arrow was extremely powerful, but when he encountered the Tian Zan sword formation, he was still bounced off and inserted obliquely on a rock. At this time, others flew up from all sides. Ben Lei. Yi Chen's waist and horse are united, and the perfect combination of qi and qi, the palm of the first person who rushed forward snorted and snorted back, turning his hand as another shake of the mountain fist to turn the second person's cough blood. The male finger continued on it, and a finger poke out a blood hole in the third person. Good boy, you really aren't easy. Yang Wei, the strongest of the few, came out. Seeing this, Yi Chen flashed back quickly. This woman looks feminine like a girl, but it is not simple. The repair is a foot into the true sun, and her strength is better than that of the purple shirt and Zhang Hao. Nothing worse. Wind sword tactic. Sure enough, Yang Wei came up with a big move. Cheng Hong swept through the sword with unmatched power. Yi Chen's eyes were swift, and Tianjian's sword lay in front of him on the spot. LB. Yang Wei Jingshao hit a sword on the thick and hard Tianjian sword, but in the end the power broke the Tianjian sword, but still took Yi Chen Zhen back a half step. It seems that Lao Su needs to learn from you, or you really think that Lao Su is sloppy. Yi Chen yelled, and immediately threw out Tianjian's sword, and then his body followed Tianjian's sword. Yang Wei coldly hummed and flew his sword and flew into the heavens. He was about to move, but ran into Yi Chen, who was rushing forward. Roar, roar. Suddenly, there was a roar of beasts. Yi Chen was like a beast going down the mountain, and the way out of the gloves was even weird, sometimes like a tiger, sometimes a fierce ape, sometimes like a lion, sometimes like a wolf, grabbing, patting, tearing, hands, feet, using both knees and shoulders, every joint on the body became a fierce weapon. The first time he encountered such a powerful close kill as Yi Chen, Yang Wei was beaten by his hands, and his body was covered with punches and footprints. Signal. Backed by Yi Chen, Yang Wei didn't forget to yell at the people behind him. Upon seeing this, a disciple immediately took out a luminous bamboo tube and lifted the prohibition. There was aura in the bamboo tube soaring into the sky, inserted directly into the supper, and then turned into a brilliant brilliance. Okay. Seeing the glorious glory in the air, many people looked up at the sky. I must have found Yi Chen and come with me. It was the Kong Sao who was the first to kill, leading a group of younger brothers to be aggressive. Finally found you, see if I can't destroy you. Zhang Hao's cousin Zhang Yang also came from the other direction. Today comes, you don't have to go back. Zuo Qiuming also saw the signal, grasped the direction and the position of Yi Chen very accurately, and summoned the disciples led by him to fight. Go. At this moment, after seeing the signal light with Qiu's inner team disciples, they immediately withdrew from the battle and surrounded them in the direction of the signal. What's the matter? Bearer, who wore a mace, made a mistake. Isn't Yi Chen found out? Qi Yu Chao frowned slightly. Looking at this battle, this will stop him in the barren forest. What are you waiting for? Kill it. Shang threw a mace on the spot. Brother Shang, we can't get through. Tang Rushuan reminded, you forgot, each of our teams has a predetermined entrance, and each entrance has a corresponding passageway. We cannot leave this passageway, but those that test us, the inner disciples, however, ignore the restrictions of the channel, and can arbitrarily shuttle between each channel. Quote. He shivered and forgot about it. Like them, the teams led by Xie Yun, Huo Tang, and Xiao Jing also encountered such a scene. They were fighting against the inner disciples, but because of the signal light, the inner disciples left the battle on the spot. The circle killed Yi Chen in that direction. It goes without saying that Yi Chen's kid was found. But this battle is getting bigger. Zhe Hong, Zhao Zhujing, and Qingyang real people have really lost their blood this time. I also heard that in this barren forest test, no matter who they are, they can get Yi Chen from them. 100,000 spirit stones. Quote. It's no wonder that they were beaten with chicken blood. Unfortunately, we are restricted by our respective channels, otherwise we can kill the past and help. Chapter 123, Besiege. At this moment, if there is a sky overlooking the sky, in the vast barren forest, there are people moving in all directions, like a stream, and they all converge in one direction. Not good. Feeling a strong breath approaching in all directions, Yi Chen punched Yang Wei back, then turned and ran. Where to go? Yang Wei rushed up for a moment, but never thought that Yi Chen, who had just taken 2 steps, turned back suddenly. Roar! Suddenly, a mighty dragon groaned through the jungle, and the horrific sound of the mad dragon's anger was roared by Yi Chen, and Yang Wei, who ran into the face, took a solid note. What? Obviously, in order to think of Yi Chen's knowledge of such overbearing sonic mysteries, Yang Wei had no suspense. His eyes were smeared on the spot, and his mind was buzzing, tingling and bleeding. Come back for me. Yi Chen took a step forward and dragged back Yang Wei, who was back, and then carried him back. Next, it was Yi Chen's expert skill. Boom! With a roar and stunned Yang Wei, Yi Chen was slammed to the ground severely, and a human figure was smashed out of the ground. The 5 internal organs and the 6 internal organs were all shifted out, and a bite of old blood squirted more than 2 feet. Stop him! Behind them, those inner doormen rushed up. Roll! Yi Chen screamed at the sky, holding Yang Wei's legs in one hand, and using his body as a weapon. He throbbed so wildly that he rushed forward to a few inner door disciples and was knocked up by the fly. Go out! I'm not free to accompany you, crazy! He flew to Yang Wei. Yi Chen slipped into the jungle. Roar! Soon, the roar of the monsters came from deep in the jungle. At this time, Yi Chen was busy in front of a huge monster corpse. First, he opened the body of the monster, and then the whole body got into it. He had already done it for the 2nd time. I still remember that day, too. In this way, Chu Linger's search was avoided. Sure enough, a short time after he had just hit in, there was a vibration on the ground, and Kong Sao killed a few with a bunch of younger brothers and a dozen others. No need to keep your hands, life or death. Kong Sao's voice was unusually clear. Your kid's heart is so cruel. Yi Chen could not help cursing in the stomach of the monster, but forced by the crowd, he had to hold his breath and hide his breath. When a group of people passed by, he ran out of the monster's belly and rushed towards the party. Here, Yang Wei and Kong Sao, who were sober, had met. What about people? Kong Sao couldn't help but yell at Yang Wei and others who were embarrassed in shape, but not Yi Chen. Run, run! We disappeared after chasing, and ran in the direction of Brother Kong Sao. Brother Kong Sao did not meet Yi Chen when you came. You mean I'm blind? Kong Sao screamed. Indeed, he did not meet Yi Chen when he came, but how could they think that Yi Chen would hide in the monster's belly so strangely? Because he didn't expect it, he didn't pay attention, so that Yi Chen got into the hole. Soon, Zuo Chiuming and Zhang Yang also arrived, and several waves of people's eyes widened and their eyes narrowed. Such a big battle still made people flee. Let's find him, he can't run far. Soon, the waves of people who had just gotten apart again, either in groups of 3 or 5, began a carpet-like search. Really don't say. 4 out of 5 disciples of Yemen who were so troubled by Yi Chen and sent to the barren forest are looking for Yi Chen. Because of this, the team led by Xie Yun, Huo Teng and Chi Yu, the pressure has plummeted. As a result, it is not dark yet. Xie Yun and Xiao Jing have passed the customs test and successfully entered the inner door. You passed the test so quickly. The deserted forest exit, Xie Yun's former brothers and sisters waiting outside, waiting to see Xie Yun. They were killed less than a day, suddenly mistaken. His mother was basically unblocked along the way. Xie Yun hissed. What's going on? If you can do anything, you have to stop Yi Chen. Huo Teng shrugged. Yi Chen knows. The one who turned the outer door upside down. So many people are going to block a condensate, and they are full. After Xie Yun and them, many teams went out of the barren forest and entered the inner door as they wished. Even a few teams of weak combatants had passed the test of barren forest because of Yi Chen's trouble. Boom! Rumble! In the barren forest, the roaring one after another, the movement is not small. Yi Chen once again escaped from the encirclement in a horrifying form. On this day, he encountered the besieging of disciples by his inner disciples more than once. He did not fear anyone alone, but the besieging of nearly 100 people really beat him out of temper. Where? Surround him. Yi Chen, who had just escaped the encirclement, had not waited for a rest before he heard someone shouting behind him. Quick, let's signal. You fucking. Yi Chen cursed secretly, and fled again. Boom. Bang. Soon, the barren forest, which was quiet for a while, became lively again. At this moment, it was already dark and night fell. In a lush weed bush, Yi Chen hid there pantingly. There were many scars on his body, and blood was flowing out. His face was pale. This day, it cost him a lot of energy. You guys are bullying. Yi Chen scolded and yelled. Yi Chen grabbed 2 Weishuan Dan and put them in his mouth. After an hour, his breath became magnificent again, and his overbearing recovery force made his scars almost disappear. Glancing at the starry sky of Haoyu, Yi Chen sneaked out of the weeds. I chased Lao Su for a day, and this time changed me. I was a member of the intelligence organization and arrested me. Your path is far from perfect. Running out of the weeds, Yi Chen's figure constantly shuttled through the barren forest. Finally, he jumped agilely on a thick tree, holding his breath by covering the branches and leaves. Soon, 3 more figures came into view not far away. The peak of one person's realm, one of them is 8, and one of them is 7. On the big tree, Yi Chen murmured, and at a glance, he saw the repair of these 3 people. The 3 inner gate disciples looked at each other all the way, hoping to find a trace of Yi Chen. Yi Chen's kid is really an indestructible Shaoqiang. So many people besieged, and I was escaped by him. It seems that the rumors of the outside door are true. We have 3 true sun realms, and he counts as wool. Look, he will be caught by us sooner or later. The 3 of you said it to me, but Yi Chen, who hadn't found him hiding in the big tree, looked at them with a sneer. Don't leave when you come. Yi Chen sneered, waving and throwing out 3 or 5 iron eggs that did not slip away. Be careful. The response of the 3 was not slow. They immediately waved the sword in their hands, and split the 3 or 5 black iron eggs in half. The iron eggs were split, and there was a thick black mist. Out. Damn it, smoke bombs. The 3 couldn't help yelling, knowing that they were in an ambush, and leaned back to back in an instant. At this point, Yi Chen had already jumped off the big tree, sneaked into the black mist silently, and also found out a black iron whip from the storage bag, and this iron whip was also from the expense after buying $500,000 from the ghost black market. It is very hard and abnormal, and it is most suitable for smashing people. What? Soon, the screams came out from the thick black mist. The disciple of the 7th heaven in the Yuan of the person was smashed by the blood of Chichao and passed out on the spot. I rely, this iron whip is so overbearing. After stunned the disciple, Yi Chen hid in the dark mist for a moment. On the one hand, he was surprised by the iron whip in his hand, and he woke up a person's Yuanjing with 7. The Chichao bleeding of his disciples really exceeded his expectations. Who? Get out. One of the 3 was stunned, and the remaining 2 drank drunkenly, and the horrific mysteries had been hit. Yi Chen was not far from the 2 of them. After they released the big move, they suddenly culled, then raised an iron whip, and stunned the Chichao, who was the 8th strongest disciple of the person with a stick. Passed. Putting down one more, Yi Chen went into the dark mist again in stealth. Yi Chen, I know it's you, using smoke bombs, and doing so, really do it. The disciple roared constantly. Next work. Yi Chen's voice drifted away in the thick black mist. Sneer, don't you keep working. So many people besieged me in a condensate, compared to me putting smoke bombs, you know shame. Quote. There is a kind of heads up, Shaoxing these side doors. As you wish. Yi Chen jumped to the death of an ape, and before the disciple responded, the black iron whip had been split by Ling Tian. What? With a scream, the disciple at the peak of the Yuan dynasty was also smashed and bleed, and Banban posted a large letter on the ground. When the 3 of them stunned, Yi Chen didn't dare to stop. When he took the iron whip, he moved his hands up and down, and took away the storage bags and the baby from the 3. After that, even their clothes were stripped. All that left was a pair of floral pants. After doing this, he turned and disappeared. Chapter 124. Dig a pit and bury some soil. In a lush weed again, Yi Chen showed up again without checking his booty first. Instead, He took out the black iron whip, and he was able to bring down 3 inside disciples so neatly. The iron whip contributed the most. Don't know, just startle. He looked up and down the iron whip in his hand. Yi Chen pouted his mouth. One whip can bleed the 7 tricks of a monk at the peak of a person's realm. Your power really made me amazed. Quote. Yi Chen began to realize that he had underestimated the black iron whip. Since buying the iron whip from the auction that day, he has never used it, until today it was knocked out of a sap. It was unexpected surprise that he never expected such an unexpected effect. Take a whip, is it really so uncomfortable? Murmured softly, Yi Chen took the iron whip and hit his forehead. Wow, suddenly, Yi Chen felt a blackness in front of her eyes, and then there was a slight buzz in her head, especially the sole, and she felt a pain, as if she had been hit by something. She shook her head and recovered her sobriety. Yi Chen tentatively looked at the iron whip in her hand, stupidly saying, "You're not going to be a weapon dedicated to human souls." Yi Chen groaned for a moment, and thought about it just after being struck by the iron whip. The soul did feel the pain, and then reassociated with the 3 inner disciples, he had basically determined that the black iron whip the real ability is to hit people's souls. Baby, it's a baby. Knowing the ability of the iron whip, Yi Chen nourished and said, "Don't forget to take a breath on the iron whip," and then wiped it with his sleeve. Quote. Hee 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 hee. After receiving the iron whip, Yi Chen sprang out of the weeds again, and then he could still hear his scolding, "All are waiting for Lao Su, no one can run." Soon after, he appeared in front of a large pool of water. Later, he buried a few mine bombs around the pool, which led him to jump into the pool. Soon, a group of 5 people searched and slowly entered Yi Chen's ambush area. Boom, boom. Soon, some unlucky insider disciples stepped on the mine bombs and were blown out on the spot. Be careful. It felt like an ambush, and the disciples who weren't touched immediately huddled together, signing. Suddenly, some disciples took out the bamboo tube that sent the signal. However, before he lifted the prohibition of the bamboo tube, Yi Chen hidden in the water pool suddenly rushed out. First, a sword gas broke the bamboo tube in the disciple's hand, and then he threw out 3 or 5 smokes. Bomb. What? Soon, the screams rang out one after another. Yi Chen, who knew the iron whip's overbearing ability, really used it more smoothly, and it took less than 30 seconds to knock down these 5 inner disciples. For the first time, he snatched away all the treasures of the 5 inner disciples, and then slashed them with only 1 piece of floral pants left and right. After doing this, Yi Chen punched a deep hole in the ground, tied 5 people together, and kicked into the deep hole. Dig a pit and bury some soil. Yi Chen quickly filled the deep pit. As a monk, even if he was buried underground, he would not be dead for 3 or 5 days. Get a good sleep here. Glancing at the ground, Yi Chen turned and disappeared. What? Soon, there was a scream in another corner of the barren forest. When Kong Sao arrived, they saw only 5 or 6 disciples who had their clothes burned out. Damn, Zuo Chiuming sighed angrily, and chopped off a thick tree with a single palm. Ordinary people's realm can't win him at all. Kong Sao's eyes glowed with evil. Can solve the realm of 5 or 6 people in such a short time, his strength cannot be suppressed without the true sun. We're in the bright, he's dark, and the barren forest is so big, it's not easy to stop him. Zhang Yang also said coldly. Maybe, I have a way. Yang Wei, who was almost stunned by Yi Chen, jumped out again, and then whispered in the ears of the 3, which made the 3 faces, weird smiles. Late at night, Yi Chen, a restless master, was like a ghost. He appeared from time to time, and several inner disciples were knocked out every time he appeared. In a dead wood forest, he committed the crime again, sturdily knocked out the 3 inner disciples, snatched all their treasures, and slashed them with only 1 piece of floral pants left. Get it, see you later. Patting her ass, Yi Chen went into the dark night again. However, he never noticed that, just before knocking on the 3 inner disciples, he had already been pasted with a glowing magic charm, because he was so excited that he didn't notice it at all. The night sky is deep, and broken stars are like dust. Next, Yi Chen did not commit another crime, but hid in a weed bush. Before that, he had buried mine bombs outside the weedy bushes. If anyone approached here, he would surely alarm him, so that he would not be too passive. It's a good harvest. Among the weeds, Yi Chen placed the robbed baby in front of him and looked at it with optimism. There were nearly 400,000 spirit stones alone, plus a lot of miracles and spirits. Absolutely. It is a considerable wealth. Thanks to you. The iron whip came out again, and Yi Chen wiped it again with his sleeve. Originally, he only wanted to pass the test, and even if he spent more money, he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble, but when he knew that the iron whip had such an overbearing ability, he instantly cancelled the entry into the door as soon as possible idea. With this overbearing iron whip in hand, he was already reluctant to leave the barren forest. At least, before he left the barren forest, he had to **** all the people he had besieged. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a fortune. All are waiting for Lao Su, none of them can run. With a sneer, Yi Chen turned his hands and closed the iron whip. Boom! Soon, there was a roar outside the 1,000 feet. Upon hearing this, Yi Chen suddenly stood up, because he knew that someone must have stepped on the mine bomb, and the person who stepped on the mine bomb was probably Kong Sao and them. I came here so soon, and you are really dedicated. Yi Chen sneered and jumped out of the jungle. Boom, boom, boom. Soon, roars rang in several directions, and they were in no particular order, which made Yi Chen's face look ugly. The roar of landmine bombs in all directions proves that people are coming from all directions, and he is probably already in their encirclement. The news is not good for him. Are they all dog noses? A secret curse was heard, and Yi Chen turned his hands out of a basket of smoke bombs, and then threw them into the air. Boom! Bang! Suddenly, the smoke bombs burst one after another, and the thick black mist spread violently, almost covering a few hundred feet, in order to disturb Kong Sao's sight so as to escape in disorder. However, Kong Sao and them seemed to be well prepared this time. When the black mist was raging, some people in the quartet used mystery. Howling winds, wind dust, storm. With the sound of the sounds, the mysteries performed by the people around were all about the wind, so that there were violent winds roaring in all directions, and the thick black mist had just surged and was blown away by the wind. Your sister, did you have a premeditated plan? Seeing that the black mist was constantly blowing away, she couldn't take the opportunity to escape, and Yi Chen's face was ugly again. Yi Chen, see how you run away this time. Soon, a loud drinking sound rang from the east, and Zuo Qiuming hung a treasure mirror, his murderous spirit came out. Run, run for Lao Su again. In the west, Zhang Yang's face was so rude that he had an ancient seal hanging on his head, and he killed him. You will die is hard to see. In the south, Kong Sao held a bronze artifact on his head, and led his younger brother to siege, all evil spirits. You can't run. North, Yang Wei also led a team of people to kill over. Skynet is restored. Above Yi Chen's head, at this time there was also a large net Lingtian falling down. Dead End. Chapter 125, Breakout of the Siege. Seeing such a big battle, Yi Chen's heart was cold from head to toe, and he had besieged so many times before. There was no such dangerous thing this time, but this time, Kong Sao and their 3 true Sun realms simultaneously killed. You know, although there are many personal realms, they are not terrible. What he really fears is Kong Sao's 3 true Sun realms. The realm of the real Sun is no better than the realm of the people. They have been fully tempered into spiritual power, and it is because of the spiritual power that they have the qualifications to control the magical artifacts. As soon as they come out, they will be mostly spotted crackdown. Ha! Yi Chen turned his hands and took out the Qishao sword, and then instilled it into the air. He cut it out against the sky and split the skynet that was about to fall. Roar! As the roar of the beast sounded, the beast of angry heart jumped up and out, and he jumped out of the cover of skynet. Where to go? Zhang Yang first came forward, and the ancient seal hanging from his head flew out, floating in midair, blooming a dazzling light, and a powerful force appeared. Although Zhang Yang is still far from the full power of recovering ancient seals, Yi Chen was crushed down for the first time. Zuo Qiuming also moved, and the spirit mirror hanging over his head was full of light. The momentum was stronger than the ancient seal of Zhang Yang. Yi Chen had not been able to stabilize his heel, so he was pressed by the spirit mirror for a while, and then Kong Sao's magical copper furnace also glowed, pressing Yi Chen to spit blood on the spot. Dead. Seeing Yi Chen constrained by the 3 artifacts, Yang Wei moved and waved a handprint. Puff. Yi Chen's strokes, vomiting blood on the spot. What? Yi Chen roared, and the blood in his body was flowing rapidly, like fire. Give me it. Yi Chen growled again and was suppressed by the 3 spirits, seemingly to stimulate his potential. Dan Hai suddenly rushed out and broke free. This boy, he was able to break free of the suppression of the 3 spirits, and shocked Kong Sao. It's just condensed air, is he a demon? This sun can't stay. The 3 seemed to see Yi Chen's daunting talent. This is just so scary. If this grows up, then it's okay. They don't want to leave one for themselves in the future. Such enemies. Death or death. Kong Sao ordered. The first one came over, and a big handprint Ling Tian pressed. Kong Long. Yi Chen used a powerful secret technique to fight with strength and regret with Kong Sao. Boom. The 2 palms confronted each other evenly, and the people present were surprised again. In retrogression, Zuo Qiuming passed Cheng Hong with a sword and was unmatched in power. Yi Chen responded very fast, peddling the mysterious steps of the Speed Shadow Thousand Fantasy, and escaped the shocking sword of Zuo Qiuming, but the descendants were cut deeply by the knife cut by Kong Sao Lingtian Gully. After the 3 of them, attacks from all directions followed, fist shadows, palm prints, sword chi, and sword on spreading over the sky, drowning Yi Chen in an instant. Tiana sword formation. Yi Chen coldly hummed and waved the Qishao sword very close to consolidate the Tianjian sword formation. However, although the defense strength of the Tianjian sword formation is strong, Yi Chen has not yet practiced it to the extreme. Too many people are attacking in all directions, and each is not weak, so that his sword formation was broken as soon as it was formed. Puff, puff. Suddenly, the sword shadow flew, leaving a trail of blood on his body, and the palm print fist shadow broke his meridian veins. You're stubborn. Yi Chen was furious, with an iron whip in his left hand and Qishao in his right hand, ignoring his bruises, and killed in the direction of Yang Wei, because Yang Wei was the weakest in the 4 directions. Seeing Yi Chen's killing, Yang Wei bent his bow again and took an arrow, and Zhan Zhang's wind fighting arrow showed his power again. Puff. Yi Chen did not dodge at all, allowing the long arrow to pierce his body, and he also powerfully killed Yang Wei in front of him. What? The screams suddenly sounded, and the iron whip did not disappoint Yi Chen. Rao was a Yang Wei who had already stepped into the real sun with a strong whip, and the smashed Qichao bleeding, his mind buzzed. At the moment when Yang Wei's eyes were blacked out, Yi Chen stepped on him and overstepped. Suddenly, there was a shock shot behind him, which was Zuo Qiuming's magical weapon. Yi Chen was hit again, and the shock penetrated his chest from his back. The sensible blood hole suddenly appeared. The attack behind him came later. Yi Chen, who had not stabilized his shape, was knocked over on the spot. Flew out. Catch him. Zhang Yang rushed to the front, the baoyan hanging from his head buzzing, and the sword trembling in his hand, quite a posture to knock Yi Chen down. Yi Chen stood up and looked back suddenly. Roar. The majestic sound wave instantly remembered with the low sound of the dragon, and Zhang Yang, who was the first to bear it, took a solid note. Rao was his true state of cultivation, and he was roared double without being prepared. Dizzy. Want to run. Kong Sao Ling came down and slashed. Kong Long. Kong Long. Yi Chen was mad, and he shot 2 dragons in succession. The golden dragon shadow rushed up against the sky, and Kong Sao really snorted back. And in this brief moment, Zuo Qiuming was killed, a sword was split, and a deep blood cloak was split in front of Yi Chen's chest. If Yi Chen was not physically strong, this sword alone would be enough to split him into 2 halves. Roll. Yi Chen drank violently, and a yang finger pointed out that his power was unmatched, and he suddenly broke Zuo Qiuming's shoulder. I stepped back, someone shot on the oblique side, and a sword stabbed. Yi Chen immediately shot, holding the long sword in his hands, and then overturned the disciple with one palm, then turned and ran. Stay. On the face, an insider disciple who was born in Yuanyuan struck out. You deserve it. Yi Chen snorted, whipped in the past, beat the disciple to the ground, turned his sword, and threw back the spitting blood of the disciple who was about to attack on the oblique side. During that time, his back again was cut by a sword. Without paying attention to the injury, Yi Chen didn't dare to stay in the slightest. Ben Lei opened the road with one hand, and the mad dragon and sky continued. The body of the fight was severely damaged again, and he vomited blood with an inner disciple back in one palm. At this point, he completely killed the encirclement. Stop him. Kong Sao, Zuo Qiuming, and Zhang Yang drank coldly, but it was too late, because Yi Chen had gone out a dozen feet away through the mysterious mystery of Shine Qianwan. Chase. Behind him, a large number of people chased and killed the past. Ahead, Yi Chen didn't dare to stop. The mysterious footsteps of Shoying Qianwan had been performed to the extreme. Behind him was a series of shadows. He didn't want to be surrounded again, otherwise he didn't have the chance to escape. Boom. Rumble. The barren forests of the night, with exceptional unrest, were accompanied by a roar all the way. This battle lasted from midnight to dawn, and from dawn to night, dragging the injured Yi Chen. He was almost trapped on several occasions, but was killed by him at a tragic price. Why can they grasp the movements so accurately? While he coughed up blood in his mouth, Yi Chen thought as if he thought of the root cause. As he accelerated his pace, Yi Chen examined his body. Sure enough, he found a magic charm on his hind legs, and the magic charm was still faint. Tracker. Yi Chen's eyes narrowed. No wonder I was able to find my position so accurately last night. No wonder the three true sun realms will appear at the same time. Everything is because of this tracker. Good plan. Yi Chen smiled coldly and tore off the tracer. Chapter 126. Overcast people don't pay. At night, Yi Chen hid in a hole dug in advance. After 9 deaths, he escaped Zuo Qiuming's pursuit after all, because without the tracking sign, Zuo Qiuming and theirs could hardly find Yi Chen's trace for a while. No wonder that the barren forest was too big and wanted to find someone. It's not easy. Yi Chen has sat on the ground with her knees crossed. Although he escaped, he had heavy hands, bones and numerous scars. All are waiting for Lao Su. With a cold voice, Yi Chen swallowed 3 Weishuanden, and then operated the secret method of the wild barren body. At this time, the exit of the barren forest was full of people, not only Xie Yun's disciples who just came in from the outside, but also many disciples from the inside. They mostly wanted to see Yi Chen's honor. I want to see who is the sacred apprentice who turned upside down the door. In addition to the disciples, there are many inside elders standing in the clouds. Tian Xuanfeng's main Dao Xuanzhenren, Yu Zhanfeng's main style is unmarked, and Yunfeng's host Chu's honor are among them. Outdoor disciples who have been tested by the barren forest have basically come out. Why can't they see the one named Yi Chen? Among the crowd, an inner disciple asked in doubt. Looks like he's gone. I'm afraid he can't come out. Someone said something. The words were full of meaning. Compared with these disciples, Xie Yun and Shang Er's faces are very bad. They know too much what kind of enemies Yi Chen faces in the barren forest. Can he enter the inner door without saying first? Can he go back alive? It's unknown. Brother Dao Zan, are you sincerely angry with me? After so long, Yi Chen was not seen, and Chu Zhan couldn't sit still. He couldn't help looking at the real man next to Dao Zan, and said angrily, look at who you have chosen. If you choose Kong Sao, can Yi Chen pass the test? Shimei, you're wrong me. Dao Zan really hurriedly called injustice. I can testify. A fat elder beside Dao Xuanzhen smiled. In order to be fair, the inner disciples who were sent to the barren forest were decided by lot. Kong Sao and theirs were chosen. Coincidence. That's a coincidence, too. Chu Xuaner glanced at Dao Xuanzhenren, how the people who got the sign were Yi Chen's enemies. No way, who makes your apprentice so bad? Dao Zan really rubbed his eyebrows helplessly. Sister and sister must have forgotten the outside door comparison a few days ago. All your apprentices encountered are what kind of person, this character, hey. Quote. Don't say anything, he's an unlucky child. Chu's honor could not help but pat his forehead. In the middle of the night, Yi Chen secretly rushed out of the cave again and again, and rushed into the dark night. What? Soon, an unknown corner of the barren forest screamed. Yes, Yi Chen did the job of knocking people over the goods. With the domineering ability of the Iron Whip, and many babies of the wicked, he was getting more and more. As in previous times, he took away all the treasures of those inner disciples, and did not forget to strip their clothes before leaving. And one thing is as he expected, that is, before the inner disciples are stunned, they will cleverly put tracking marks on him, which may be Kong Sao they had planned for a long time. However, how could Yi Chen, who had suffered a loss once, go to the second spot? Then the tracking man was destroyed by him on the spot. Yin Mi, you look good. With a sneer, Yi Chen disappeared again. What? It didn't take long for such a scream to sound again. The inner disciples of a three-man squad were stunned, then stripped of their clothes, tied with a bunch of immortal ropes, and then let them fall asleep by the incense. Dig a pit and bury it underground. What? In the middle of the night, the barren forest, which was supposed to be quiet, became extraordinarily unstable. There were always some screams in some corners of the barren forest. With the continuous disciples of Yemen's disciples Yi Chen fainting and burying, Kong Sao's manpower is less and less, so that in the end, they are basically left alone. Shame, heaven's shame, the three roared and shook the sky, their faces shivering. Originally, they thought that a conscientious intern disciple could not make any big waves. Even if they were famous outside, they were nothing in their eyes. However, a series of things came down in the past 2 days, and they realized that they had not only underestimated Yi Chen, an intern disciple, it was just too underestimated. Yi Chen was like a ghost, so that they could not find any trace. The only good opportunity was to let him escape. The disciples of the inner gate, nearly 100, the disciples of the inner gate, plus 3 true sun scenes, were actually the condensed state was embarrassed. So that at this time, the nearly 100 inner disciples who were sent in are now less than 10 people, which makes them not angry. If Yi Chen is caught, it's better to say, if they see A and be caught, then they is the biggest laughingstock of the inner door. At this moment, Yi Chen, who angered them, had found a weed forest. Here it is. I looked around and saw no one. Yi Chen then moved out a basket of mine bombs and buried them in the soil very carefully. After doing this, he took out the incense again, and arranged it cleverly in the weeds, then the poisonous silver needles, and every link was carefully planned. It took him a whole hour to settle, and he left here. Now, I'll clean up for you. After a long walk in the barren forest, Yi Chen saw a blurry figure far away. Kong Sao. Although the figure was blurred, Yi Chen recognized the man as Kong Sao at a glance. Nowadays, Kong Sao is alone. That's right, his younger brother was stunned by Yi Chen batch by batch, and now there are no more. Like him, Zhuo Qiuming and Zhang Yang did the same, because the barren forest was too large due to insufficient manpower. Obviously, gathering together to find Yi Chen would narrow down the scope, so they acted separately, which can expand the search scope. And Yi Chen wanted this effect, that is, let them place singles and fight alone. He would never be afraid of Kong Sao. Boy, master, I'll give you a lesson today. With a sneer, Yi Chenying rushed out and disappeared again, deliberately not converging, so that Kong Sao could perceive it. Yi Chen. She was very familiar with Yi Chen's breath, and the sullen air in her heart had nowhere to vent, so Kong Sao caught up without saying a word. Seeing Kong Sao hooking, Yi Chen deliberately slowed down, and just when Kong Sao was about to catch up, Yi Chen speeded up sharply again. The two chased and fled, gradually approaching the trap set by Yi Chen in advance, and Kong Sao apparently forgot something because of his anger, that is, sending a signal to summon Zhuo Qiuming and Zhang Yang. Boom! Soon, Kong Sao was led to that weed forest, and the relaxed vigilant Kong Sao stepped on the landmine bomb that Yi Chen had buried in advance, and was blown up on the spot, waiting for the landing. The second one the mine bomb has detonated. Boom! 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 Then, the roar rang again and again. When Kong Sao was blown up, and when his body was crippled, he stepped on the poisonous needles carefully arranged by Yi Chen. Before he could react, the fragrant aroma that had been arranged in advance also floated in his nostrils. Yi Chen, you ***** it. The roar rang through the jungle, and Kong Sao was dizzy, his body shaking. At this moment, Yi Chen didn't know where it came from. He waved his hand and threw out more than a dozen smoke bombs. The smoke bombs burst, and there was a sudden black mist, trapping Kong Sao inside. After holding his ground, Kong Sao immediately imprinted his seal and used the secret of the wind to blow away the black smoke. Look at the trick. Yi Chen killed him abruptly, interrupting his seal, and then turned and ran. Where to go? Kong Sao was furious, summoned his destiny, stepped out, and struck out. I didn't want to leave. In front, Yi Chen, who had just stepped forward, turned back suddenly, waved his sleeves, and sprayed a white mist on Kong Sao's face. He took a closer look. Monk's white lime. Obviously Kong Sao did not guess that Yi Chen would give him such a trick. You must know that these wicked man's moves are usually his usual method, but it is him who is overcast now. However, Kong Sao was in the realm of the sun after all. Although the special smelting of white lime was aimed at monks, it only blinded him for less than a second. However, it was less than a second before Yi Chen had waved the iron whip and hit him on the head of Kong Sao firmly. What? The screams suddenly sounded, and the iron whip was indeed overbearing. Rao was a blood loss of Kong Sao and Chi Chao, and Yi Chen was sure that his mind was now like a blast. It should be excellent. Let you count me. Yi Chen yelled and kicked Kong Sao's crotch. Well, the second brother was attacked. Looking at Kong Sao's face, all of them turned red. I wonder if it was painful or stingy. Fear of change. Yi Chen did not give Kong Sao a chance to react, and threw the iron whip again, hitting Cao Cao's forehead one after another. What? Kong Sao's smashed head was bleeding, especially the buzzing of his head, and the severe pain in his soul, which left him unconscious, and he couldn't stand even, and finally he was slammed by Yi Chen. After going down, he fell into a fainting spot. After drying down Cao Cao, Yi Chen turned his hand and collected the iron whip, and then he got up and down his hands, and cleaned up the treasures on and off of Kong Sao's body. Naturally, Kong Sao's clothes were also chopped with only the flower pants. After doing this, Yi Chen tied Kong Sao like a mule with a bundle of immortal rope, and then did not forget to use fragrant incense to make him sleepy, and finally threw the goods into the pit he had dug in advance. Kong Sao, just like that, was buried alive. It's okay, you can't die. Yi Chen patted the ground. Sleep. When you wake up, you'll find out what a world. Ridiculous. Chapter 127, Heads Up. After solving Cao Cao, Yi Chen left here at the fastest speed. Not long after, a figure appeared here, and if you look closely, it is Zhang Yang. Looking at the mess in the ground, Zhang Yang frowned slightly. There was a war here. Looking around, Zhang Yang turned around and left. He probably could not think of it. Just under a crooked neck tree not far away, Kong Sao was buried there to sleep. As for Yi Chen, he found another place where the birds don't shit, and used the remaining mines, smoke bombs and so on, and prepared to use the old skills to knock down Zuo Qiuming and Zhang Yang. In fact, he could have left the barren forest now. Now, in this barren forest, except he is Zuo Qiuming and Zhang Yang, both of them are looking for him at the moment. He can leave his sleeves and leave. The reason why he does not leave is to leave Ming and Zhang Yang also robbed. I don't know, if his strange thoughts let Zuo Qiuming and Zhang Hao know, it will be a kind of expression. Soon, the trap was laid out, and Yi Chen ran out again. It didn't take long for him to come back again, and he brought a person back, who was Zhang Yang, who had appeared in the weed forest before. Boom, boom, boom. 30 seconds later, Zhang Yang was blown up by landmine bombs, then smoke bombs, incense and poisonous needles. Yi Chen, I killed you. Zhang Yang's roar rang through the jungle. It was you who provoked me first. Yi Chen himself would not show mercy, and he simply laid Zhang Yang down. Like Kong Sao, Zhang Yang could not escape the robbery. Come and come, you two are a companion. Yi Chen carried Zhang Yang to the place where Kong Sao was buried alive, then cut off the big pit, and threw Zhang Yang, who was also stripped of his clothes. Filling in the soil, Yi Chen patted his asterisk and walked away. Then, it's you, Zuo Qiuming. The corner of his mouth sneered. Yi Chen looked in the direction of the barren forest, and seemed to be able to see Zuo Qiuming's cheeky face from a long distance. This time, Yi Chen didn't set up any traps for the Yin people. He always wanted to fight head-to-head with a true son, but the previous scene was obviously inappropriate. Today, only he and Zuo Qiuming are left in the barren forest, and no one will bother him again. He thinks this is a good opportunity, and he also wants to know, if he doesn't engage in traps of evil people, the power of moving magic, is it possible to defeat Zuo Qiuming in the real world? Thinking like this, Yi Chen turned and walked into the dark night. At this moment, Zuo Qiuming, who was still searching for Yi Chen's trace in the jungle, really wanted to get more angry, more and more tormented. He had a majestic spirit, but he couldn't let it go. I do not know how long it took before Zuo Qiuming took out the note. Did you find him? Zuo Qiuming asked the note. However, for a long time, he didn't hear the response from Kong Sao and Zhang Yang, which made him frown slightly, and asked again, "Ask you. Have you found Yi Chen's trace?" As for the first time, there is no sound in the note. What about people? Zuo Qiuming frowned again. Is it true that Yi Chen has already entered the inner door, and Kong Sao and Zhang Yang have left because they know Yi Chen has left? With this thought in mind, Zuo Qiuming was even more angry and opened his mouth and yelled, "You two dogs are a crossbreed, and I don't know when I leave, so I am still searching hard here." Yo yo yo. As soon as Zuo Qiuming's words fell, an interesting laugh was sounded not far from him. "Brother Zuo, what makes you so angry?" Yi Chen. Seeing Yi Chen, Zuo Qiuming's eyes narrowed sharply. "You are still in the barren forest." That brother Zuo thought, "Where should I be, my brother?" Yi Chen walked slowly, stopped slightly, and smiled at Zuo Qiuming. "I don't care where you are, since you are still in the wild forest, and since you dare to appear in front of me, then you don't have to leave today." Seeing Yi Chen, Zuo Qiuming's sullen air was already beyond restraint. The momentum of Junyang suddenly erupted, blowing her hair all over the sky. "Is that so?" Yi Chen sneered, not forgetting to twist his neck. "Come on now." Singled out. A big breath. Zuo Qiuming smiled angrily, stepping out immediately, and a big seal screamed from the air. Yi Chen's eyes flickered and he did not retreat. His energy was instilled in the palm of his hand, and there was a thunderbolt in his fingers. Boom! With a single regret, they both groaned back. "I don't care how strong you are, but in my eyes, you are still nothing." Zuo Qiuming shouted loudly. His 5 fingers were spread out, and he pressed the earth toward the ground, and then took out the earth dragon's air from the ground and turned into a purple dragon roared towards Yi Chen. But seeing Yi Chen, he was doing the same action, and also spread his fingers to the ground, and took out the earth dragon's air from the ground, turning into a golden dragon shadow, and opposing the purple dragon shape of Zuo Qiuming. Roar, roar. The 2 dragon shadows have the same momentum, and they can't compete with each other in midair. "Where did you steal the earth dragon tactics?" Zuo Qiuming screamed violently, and Yi Chen, who had never thought of the condensed state, would also wait for this mysterious mystery. You must know that the person who knows this mystery is in the entire Hengye sect. Absolutely no more than 5 people, and of these 5 people, there is no him Yi Chen. Want to know? I won't tell you. Yi Chen smiled, and half of the words blocked Zuo Qiuming. Then hit you. Zuo Qiuming was furious again, turned his hands to take out a silver cross, stepped on the mysterious steps and rushed straight to Yi Chen, and there was a series of afterimages behind him. Yi Chen also took out the Qishao sword, and did not retreat to go forward, opposing Zuo Qiuming. LB. The sound of metal collision is endless. Both of them have their own secret methods, their moves are also inscrutable, and they are difficult to distinguish for a while. Yi Chen did not know that he was fighting Zuo Qiuming, and he was also stealing the secrets of Zuo Qiuming. This was the previous Dailong tactic. He used the fairy wheel to deduct the copy. Where did he learn what Dailong tactics? It was stolen from Zuo Qiuming. This is also another important reason why Yi Chen wants to stay and confront Zuo Qiuming, that is, stealing the secret method of Zuo Qiuming. Boom. Rumble. The battle between the 2 people was fierce, and each gave up. The scenes of the battle were also extremely vast. As a result, the pieces of ancient wood fell down, and the boulder that was seated collapsed into debris. Earth Dragon Seal, Shaking Mountain Fist, Kanglongquan, Kong Long. The mysterious confrontation escalated the battle between the 2. Zuo Qiuming is a true realm of real sun, Dan Tian is full of spirits, and he won't be defeated for a long time. Mysterious mysteries are endless, and every time he takes a shot, he can leave a scar on Yi Chen. Although Yi Chen is in a state of condensed qi, he is in charge of the Danhai. Although the qi is not as strong as the spiritual power, the amount of qi is better than Zuo Qiuming, more powerful in flesh, overbearing melee, and many secret methods. It is also that Zuo Qiuming suffers every time he takes a shot. In a blink of an eye, the two had already fought for nearly 100 moves, but the battle was still hot. What kind of freak is this kid? Until then, Zuo Qiuming really started to face Yi Chen. He couldn't help but be shocked. A condensed state could last in his hands for so long without losing. This is not a miracle. No wonder it will turn the sky outside. With this strength alone, it is difficult for outsiders to beat him. It seems the rumors are true. Yi Chen does have that strength. Zuo Qiuming's thoughts fluttered in his heart. When he heard Yi Chen's deeds in the outside door, he didn't believe it, but when he really fought with him, he discovered that this trainee who cultivated only the peak of Ningqi was a monster. Genius. Brother Zuo, there is still a small gap between you and me. You will lose a lot. The momentary distraction allowed Yi Chen to seize the opportunity to bully him in front of Zuo Qiuming. Roar, roar. Soon, the roar of the beast sounded. Yi Chen seemed like a beast going down the mountain, and the way out of the gloves was even weird, sometimes like a tiger, sometimes a fierce ape, sometimes a male lion, sometimes like a wolf, grabbing, patting, tear, hands, feet, knees, shoulders used together, every joint on the body became a fierce weapon. Moreover, every time he casts the mystery of the beast's heart and anger, it is accompanied by the appearance of the beast's shadow, which is truly mysterious. For the first time, Yi Chen performed a domineering combat technique. Zuo Qiuming was a little busy, and was defeated by Yi Chen. What? With the roar, Zuo Qiuming resisted Yi Chen's punch stiffly, and then distanced himself from Yi Chen. Stepping back, his hands quickly moved his fingerprints. Suddenly, there was a howl of swords behind him, and then a series of illusory sword images turned out, dense, and a large number of people made the scalp numb. Rao was seen by Yi Chen. Fei Lu Jian Zhen. With Zuo Qiuming's flick, each of the sky's sword shadows pointed at Yi Chen and came flying. Heavenly Sword Array. Yi Chen also cast his sword array regardless of the sequence. LB. LB. The sword and the sword sparked, and the sound of pounds and pounds sounded. The two sword arrays have their own advantages, and they still love each other. The only difference is that Zuo Qiuming is attacking the sword array, while Yi Chen is defensive sword array. It's my turn. With Yi Chen's cold sigh, Qishao Jianyao pointed to Zuo Qiuming, Tianyi's defensive sword array, and instantly transformed into an attack sword array. Zuo Qiuming was well prepared, and his sword formation was also attackable and defensive. After some fighting, the two did not take much advantage, and Zuo Qiuming also lost patience and used his own destiny. Chapter 128. Beautiful Scenery. The void buzzed. Zuo Qiuming's spirit mirror suspended in the sky, blooming with dazzling light, shining the dark night. Suppress me. Zuo Qiuming drank coldly. The spirit mirror trembled violently, and the dazzling light made people dare not look straight at it. The overflowing spirit was even more dazzling, and a powerful force dipped. I trust. Yi Chen only felt the pressure soaring, and he was pressed for a while, and blood spewed out on the spot. Give it to me. He gave a violent drink, and he straightened his body stiffly, resisting the suppression of your spiritual realm. Yesterday, none of the three spirits could suppress him, let alone Zuo Qiuming. Zuo Qiuming was not surprised that Yi Chen resisted the coercion of the spirit mirror. He immediately bit his tongue and spit a drop of blood into the spirit mirror. Suddenly, the spirit mirror shone brightly, and a horror went straight to Yi Chen and shot. Yi Chen turned his hands and took out Tian Yao and stood in front of him. LB. The horror hit on the sword of the sky, and sparked, and the horrible shock spit out Yi Chen's blood and backed out. Spirit of the sword of the mirror. Zuo Qiuming coldly, using his own magic weapon to perform powerful mysteries, horrified and stunned, all-powerful, anyone is enough to penetrate Yi Chen's body. Yi Chen moved, and while avoiding, he waved the Tiana to block. LB. LB. The sparks were constantly rubbed on the sword of Tianya. It did not disappoint Yi Chen. It was thick and hard and was not broken. But Rao was so. He also was beaten and vomited blood. It really doesn't prevail. How long can you hold on? Zuo Qiuming drank coldly and changed Yinju again. Suddenly, the shocks that drove down the sky suddenly became one, condensing into a thick shock with the thickness of an adult arm, and there was a tear of lightning and lightning. Seeing this, Yi Chen clenched the Tianjian sword with both hands. The stupid horror fell from the sky, and hit Yi Chen's heavenly sword firmly. Huang dang! Yi Chen was shocked by the pain in his arm, and suddenly lost consciousness, because the stout shock was too strong, and he knelt down on the ground, then a sweet throat and a spit of blood spurted out. What? Yang Tian roared. Yi Chen stood up stiffly, and Kong Long blasted up against the sky. LB. The spirit mirror was severely hit, and the buzz trembled, because it was the natal device. Zuo Qiuming also suffered a backbite, and a blood spurted out. This kid turned out to regret the magic weapon with his bare hands. Zuo Qiuming looked at Yi Chen with an unbelievable look. Kong Long, Kong Long, Kong Long. Yi Chen was angry, and was suppressed by the spirit every time, making him wave his palm tirelessly, and the golden shadows roared to kill the void, so that the solid spirit mirror was beaten and shaken, even the light blooming on it for a while. It was bleak a lot. Give me down. With the last roar, Yi Chen waved his arm again, and the unpredictable Kanglong mystery attacked strongly. Suddenly, the last divine light on the spiritual mirror was annihilated, and it was shaken, and it fell into the void on the spot. Puff, puff. Zuo Qiuming also received a powerful backbite, unable to stop the blood spurt. Let's fight. Yi Chen was so imposing that he was so that he was killed like a wild lion. His shot was even more overbearing. I don't believe it. Zuo Qiuming yelled, unable to accept the reality, and killed him with his hair scattered. Boom. Rumble. The war began to become fierce, and the two men fought on the sidelines, constantly changing the battlefield, leaving the earth full of scars, no trees, no stones. This jungle was completely chaotic. This is a scarlet picture. Yi Chen was seriously injured, covered with gullies all over his body, and a sensible blood hole on his shoulders and right chest. There was also a sword mark behind his spine, his flesh was cut open, and even exposed blood bone. As for Zuo Qiuming, it wasn't much better. His hair spread, his flesh was blurred, like the evil spirit crawling out of hell. Near dawn, the fighting between the two men came to an end. In the distance, it was a bloody, fuzzy figure, rickety, and could fall at any time. Take a closer look, but Yi Chen. At his feet, Zuo Qiuming was lying in a human-shaped pit, apparently fell into this shape by Yi Chen. This is his masterpiece. Zuo Qiuming also couldn't escape his misfortune. His whole body was broken by more than half. When he moved, even the blood pouring from his mouth was carrying tiny internal organ fragments. It was just that Zuo Qiuming had not passed out, but his pupils were prominent. He looked at Yi Chen with an unbelievable look. He could never think of him. He would always be defeated by a condensed spirit. I don't believe this, it's impossible. Every time Zuo Qiuming opened his mouth, blood poured from his mouth. Why don't you stand up and fight again? Yi Chen stuffed a Weishuandan into her mouth, then squatted down, and consciously took away Zuo Qiuming's storage bag. Pull down. Puff. Zuo Qiuming Yang spit out blood and passed out on the spot. I'll see you later. Yi Chen waved her hand and staggered toward the deserted forest exit. At this moment, the deserted forest exit is still full of people, some are anxious and others are gloating. The 3-day deadline is coming soon. Some inner disciples stunned, and it was about to be bright. What's the matter? Yi Chenyi isn't coming out yet. There was a commotion at the scene, and there was a lot of debate. No, Xie Yun touched his chin. If Yi Chen has already been resolved, they should have come out of Kong Sao. No one came out in the past 2 days. What are they doing inside? Come here, let me be the master. Shang pretended to stretch out his fingers, whispering, and whispered some bird words that humans cannot understand. Really, it's like a scammer. Why do I have an ominous hunch? Hotten scratched his head. Wait a minute, this is indeed weird. Chi Yu whispered, although pretending to be calm, he couldn't help looking at the exit. Compared to them, those individuals in Chi Hao showed a grievous smile. Even if you are strong, you still can't enter the inner door, and maybe it will become a waste that cannot be cultivated. Wait, sooner or later will make you worse off. Quote. In the cloud, Chu's honor couldn't sit still. The 3-day deadline was approaching. If Yi Chen couldn't come out again, he would only be able to stay outside for 3 years. You stinky boy, it makes me nervous every time. Chu said angrily. Chu Shuner looked at the exit of the barren forest again, and the jade hand in his sleeve couldn't help it tightly. Sister, always come out when it's time to come out. Aside, Dao Xuanjun is like nothing else, leisurely tasting wine. Come here, try, this is my century-old wine. No mood. Chu Shuner gave Dao Zan a real glance, and said angrily, if you are old, Yi Chen will look good if you can't get out. Hearing this, Dao Zan's mouth twitched a bit. What does this have to do with me? Some people came out. As the two spoke, more than someone shouted below. Suddenly, everyone's eyes were on the exit of the barren forest. There, a figure crawling up and down has run out. It is Yi Chen. Master, save your life. Yi Chen ran into a wolf while running. Perhaps he ran too fast. A dog ran out of mud and fell to the ground, but he didn't have time to slap the dirt, and he ran away with his life. You still know it, Chu Shuner said angrily. Despite saying this, she walked in the void. However, when she saw the scene behind Yi Chen, Rao was her constant force, and it was also a moment of nagging, and she almost fell into the void. What's the situation? What's wrong with Uncle Chu Zan? Everyone made a mistake and looked subconsciously behind Yi Chen. Everyone found out that there are still people after Yi Chen. It should be said that there are many people, more precisely, there are many people who are not wearing clothes. At this time, Yi Chen is chased and killed like a crazy dog. That's right, those people were all inner disciples sent to the barren forest, buried by Yi Chen alive, because the incense made them sleep for a limited time, so that they woke up from the grave when they awoke. It was crazy to chase Yi Chen. Puff. When seeing these inner disciples who were wearing only a pair of flower pants, Dao Xuanjun, who was still drinking tea, sipped a glass of wine at the height of 3 feet. What? All female disciples and elders covered their eyes on the spot. All the male disciples and elders had their eyes widened on the spot, and the corners of their mouths twitched a dozen times back and forth. This is too lawless. Chapter 129. End of test. In the spotlight, Yi Chen crawled out of the barren forest. Yi Chen, I killed you. There was a roar behind him. The ones who rushed to the front were Kong Sao and Zhang Yang. The faces of these two goods were not faces anymore, and the awkward ones were slightly distorted. They had just crawled out of the grave and were covered with mud and black. What? Shu was so angry that the two eyes turned red, and he had forgotten that he was wearing only a pair of floral pants. Yi Chen, I killed you. Behind him, a large number of people crying and embarrassingly followed, all in flower pants, and each person held a brick, each like a crazy dog. This scene, at this moment, Rao twitched the corners of his mouth, calmly and quietly, not to mention other people, and his open mouth could almost hold a dinosaur egg. It's not that Yi Chen did a terrific job. Although they took all their treasures and stripped them of their clothes, at least they left them a pair of pants. Ahead, Yi Chen has grabbed Chu Zan's jade arm and crawled behind her, hiding behind her. Master, someone hit me. You deserve it. Yi Chen stared fiercely. Chu Shuner's chest was undulating, a pair of water-like eyes and sparks bloomed, and a patch of red halo appeared on the beautiful cheek. Ashamed. It was they who first teamed up to rectify me. Seeing Chu Shuner staring at himself, Yi Chengen coughed. Go back and pack up. Chu Shuner glared at Yi Chen again. How could she believe that her apprentice was so lawless if she hadn't seen this strange scene with her own eyes? That was the disciple who was sent into the barren forest. When they went in, they were still dog-like. When they came out, the crickets seemed to crawl out of the grave, and there was only one flower left in the whole body. Pants slackened. Still look down on this kid. Chu Shuner said this more than once in her mind. 100 Shizi disciples, 3 of whom were in the true Yang state, were defeated by Yi Chen's condensed state, which can be said to be a miracle. Presumptuous. On the other side, the real Dao Zan who responded had already shouted and blocked Kong Sao. The trial of the barren forest is over and I can't stop it. When they were drunk by Dao Zan, Kong Sao stopped their footsteps immediately, and their heads filled with anger recovered a sense of sobriety. When they realized that they were wearing only a pair of floral pants, their faces became hot immediately. Individuals are holding the ground to find ground stitches. It's on fire. This time they really are on fire. Originally, they were sent into the barren forests to test the disciples outside. In a sense, they were hunters, and the disciples were prey. But in today's scenes, they are more like prey. They were stunned and buried alive. Not to mention the baby was robbed, only one piece of clothes was picked up, and it was so ugly in the public. Can you find something more shameful in this life? Hurry up. Even Dao Xuanzhen blushed for them, and waved out a piece of clothing and scattered them in front of them. Everyone hurried to pick up clothes. Who at this time could care so much? After the clothes were put on, everyone was red-eyed, and they looked at Yi Chen hiding behind Chu's honor, each tooth biting and clicking. Yi Chen, wait for me, and you will die in another day. It's ugly. Quote, I'm not scared. Yi Chen hid behind Chu's honor, only half of her head was revealed, and she yelled. Enough. Dao Zan really stepped in and stopped the storm. Where is Zuo Qiuming? Looking around at the crowd, Dao Xuanzhen looked at Kong Sao and Zhang Yang, who were standing in front. Also, in the desert forest, seeing that the two looked a bit abnormal, Dao Xuanzhen immediately winked at the two inner disciples next to him. The two inner disciples understood and went into the barren forest in search of Zuo Qiuming. Soon, they walked out carrying a person. I depend. Seeing the almost disabled Zuo Qiuming, Shang and Xie Yun, they all snorted. It's too hard to start. This is also hit by Yi Chen. Do you want to be so aggressive? Seeing such a scene, it immediately caused a stir at the scene, and then he looked at Yi Chen very consistently. But seeing Yi Chen, stared at by so many people, he could not help but cough, shook his head and looked at the empty sky. Elder, Yi Chen counted us in 3 indiscriminate ways. Kong Sao filled them with indignation and knelt on the ground. Brother Zuo Qiuming must also suffer deeply, and also asked the elders to decide for us. Oh, hearing that Dao Zan was interested, he couldn't help but look at Yi Chen and smiled. Boy, tell me what you use. Smoke bombs, landmine bombs, lime powder, incense, poisonous needles, bundled fairy ropes. Yi Chen was real, and he hurried out dozens of yin things in one breath. Hearing everyone in the audience yes, most of the elders inside the door looked at Yi Chen meaningfully. Boy, I have the style of the year. Boy, where are you all? Aside, Dao Zan Zhenren could not help but twitch his lips. The elder Ming Jian, they besieged me first. Yi Chen said in a hurry. The disciples had to resort to 3 excessive methods in order to save their lives. Having said that, Yi Chen coughed again, and the barren forest test does not stipulate that you cannot use the method of the 3 superfluous, but Elder you must do a good job to educate all the brothers. Zongmin sent them to the barren forest test. They are all right. I'm surprised that a horde of wild forests chased me, and there are so many outside students who participated in the test, so why chase me? Quote. Okay. The real person from Dao Zan interrupted Yi Chen's words. Everyone was very busy, but I didn't have time to listen to you. Although he didn't let Yi Chen talk anymore, the real Dao Zan heard it. Kong Sao and they would destroy Yi Chen in the barren forest. Could he not know? It just made him never think that Yi Chen, a living treasure, even made such a big movement for him. The barren forest test ends here. Dao Xuanzhen glanced at Kong Sao and then looked at Yi Chen's group of outside students who had just passed the test. From today on, we will be disciples of the inner door. I hope you will practice as hard as you do outside the gate. Zongmin will provide you with a wealth of training materials, but if you violate the door regulations, this seat will not be light. Quote. It's all gone, said the last sentence, and Dao Zan shook his sleeves, straightened up, and left. After he left, Feng Wuman waited for a group of inside elders to leave. You're waiting for me. Kong Sao and others also had no face to wait any longer. Each gray-headed face wanted to escape the eyes of everyone, but before leaving, they also cast a vicious look on Yi Chen. The crowd of disciples also began to leave the field, but before leaving, they looked at Yi Chen without exception. Today's scene is really shocking. An internship apprentice outside the gate is really doing a shocking event. With this restless master, the inner gate is destined to be particularly lively in the future. Wow, ha ha, I'm an insider disciple. The joy of passing the test made those outsider disciples who passed the test ecstatic, and they couldn't wait to follow the large army to enter the inside gate. Rarely happy, are 2 cups at night. Xie Yun, who has always been addicted to drinking, looked at Huo Teng and Qi Yu. So good. Well, it must be. Seeing this, Yi Chen also joined in, but as soon as he took a step, Chu Xuaner stretched out his hand and carried him back. When Yi Chen turned around, he saw a cheering smile. If I want to drink so much, I'll take you back to drink enough for the teacher. Yi Zan, who looked at Chu Xuaner with a smile on his face, chuckled in his heart. Whenever he saw Chu Xuaner's expression, he had a feeling of being beaten. Master, you are always the first. Yi Chen was just about to speak, but Chu Xuaner had moved, like a little chicken, and choked him up, then stepped into the void, and flew towards the inner girl's jade peak. Take you to visit the new home for the teacher. Quote. What? Soon, there was a scream of ghosts crying in the direction of Yunfeng. This scream was heard by Xie Yun. They felt awkward in their hearts. They always felt uncomfortable, looking for such a violent teacher. It is destined that Yi Chen's life will become colorful. Chapter 130. Moon Shadow 7-Star Ring. This is a pretty mountain peak, filled with clouds, surrounded by clouds, strange flowers and grasses, colorful fragrance, hazy, like a woman with a veil hidden, beautiful. This is the Jade Girl Peak of the inner gate of Heng Yizong. At night, Yunfeng was bathed in the starlight moonlight. She was immaculate, peaceful and beautiful, but Yi Chen, who had just been brought back, seemed out of place here. Under a flowering spiritual tree, Yi Chen squatted there, covering her swollen face, a pair of panda eyes, and footprints all over her body. That's right, he was stung again. Since being brought back to this Jade Girl Peak, the sturdy Chu Xuaner gave him a fat meal on the ground. You're really good at it. What do you mean? If there is a female disciple who is sent into the barren forest, you have to strip your clothes. In front of Yi Chen, Chu Xuaner scolded, his hands on his hips, and scolded Yi Chen can't look up. It was they who teamed up to hit me. Then you pick your clothes. Chu Xuaner glared at Yi Chen. Until now, she couldn't believe that the lawless scene before was turned out by her baby apprentice. Are you my master? Dare you pout? Anyway, don't blame me for this. Yi Chen sat on the ground with one buttock, an expression of a dead pig not afraid of being hot. If you want to fight, just hit it. I'm used to it, these 2 days and 2 heads, you're addicted to me. Of course I don't know if I don't blame you. Chu Xuaner shrugged. But don't you make such a thrilling teacher every time, okay? You can't stop picking clothes, what's wrong? Although she said so, Chu Xuaner was very satisfied with the apprentice Yi Chen, a conscientious intern disciple, in the test of the barren forest, sent the inner disciples to the nest. This is not something everyone can do. Although Yi Chen's movements this time were a little big, his brilliant record was still quite shocking. Good boy, is it hurting you as a teacher? Seeing Yi Chen sitting on the floor, Chu Xuaner patted Yi Chen's shoulder. I rely. Yi Chen wanted to scold. What do you mean? Let me try to beat you on the ground. Now, we don't take revenge. Chu Xuaner looked at Yi Chen with a smile. No revenge. Yi Chenhong looked at Chu Xuaner with eyes. Is that the kind of person I am? Don't wait for me to beat you. I'll find a crooked neck tree to hang you on, and I will ask you if it hurts. Of course, these words Yi Chen just thought about in his heart. If this is said, it will inevitably be a meal again. Now, master, I also have clear rewards and penalties. Here, Chu Xuaner has taken out a ring from his arms, glowing and shining, with 7 stars engraved on it, 7 rings of moon shadow, reward you. Quote. Let's just say it. Yi Chen's eyes were bright and clear, but this beating could not be spared. Take it. Needless to say that Chu Xuaner, Yi Chen has already brought the moon shadow 7-star ring on her wrist. This bracelet is very strange. After wearing it, There is a feeling of warmth and coldness flowing into the body, which is very comfortable. That's right. Yi Chen played it with excitement. Master, what is the ability of this Moon Shadow 7-star ring? Yes. Chu Xuan'er smiled, but this smile fell into Yi Chen's eyes, and he always felt a bad feeling. Without waiting for Yi Chen to speak, Chu Xuan'er touched the fingerprint with one hand, and then the red lips opened slightly and whispered, "On." Hum. Suddenly, the ring of 7 moon stars on Yi Chen's wrists made a trembling sound. One of the 7 stars above bloomed, and the weight of the ring of 7 moon stars suddenly increased. Wow! Just listening to Yi Chen was yelling, the Moon Shadow 7-star ring suddenly became heavy, which caught him off guard, and a dog slumped on the ground and fell to the ground. It feels awkward. Here, Chu Xuan'er looked at Yi Chen with a smile. Why is it so heavy? Yi Chen limped up from the ground, his mouth twitched and looked at Chu Xuan'er. At least 500 pounds. This is the ability of the Moon Shadow 7-star ring. Pull it. Otherwise, do you think? Then I don't need it. Yi Chen's face wept and fell down on the spot. I don't want to carry this ghost thing all day. If I fight with people and not be killed, I'll be tired. However, what makes Yi Chen want to scold his mother is that after the Moon Shadow 7-star ring is brought on, it seems that it is lying on his wrist. Don't waste your time. Chu Xuan'er has found a stone chair and made it, drinking tea leisurely, and laughing. Once the Moon Shadow 7-star ring is brought on, unless I lift the ban for you, you will not be able to remove it. Oh. How do I feel like I've been pitted? Yi Chen twitched sharply. From today on, you will bring it to practice. Chu Xuan'er glanced at Yi Chen. It has 7 stars on it, and the weight of a bright star is 500 kilos. Wait until you adjust to the weight of 500 kilos. The 2 stars will light up on their own. Correspondingly, its weight will increase to 1,000 pounds. When you adjust to the weight of 1,000 pounds, the 3rd star will light up, and so on. The weight of the star will increase by 500 kilograms. You can remove it if you want. The 7 stars on it will all light up, and the ban will be lifted automatically. Quote. Upon hearing that, the corner of Yi Chen's mouth twitched back and forth fiercely again. I would only blame if I took it to fight with others and not be hacked to death. If you want to be strong, don't take a bit of pain. Chu Xuan'er continued to sip tea slowly. Sometimes stress is a kind of motivation. I press you with the Moon Shadow 7-star ring to strengthen you basically. It is this kind of pressure that can maximize your potential. Quote. Standing does not cause backache. Yi Chen said angrily. Although she said so, Yi Chen understood that Chu Xuan'er had let him practice with good intentions with the Moon Shadow and 7-star rings. He practiced under the weight of his body. He deeply understood that it wasn't the best proof that he stabbed the ape the other day. Carrying a few hundred pounds of natural sound will suppress speed and strength, but if the ***** is released, the explosive power that rises up instantly is still terrifying. Give you a day to get used to it. After a day, I will tailor my devil training for you. On the side, Chu Xuan'er sipped a little tea. Hearing the words, Yi Chen felt a little stunned. Devil training. Although he didn't know how Chu Xuan'er would train him, he was determined that this devil training was not a joke. Don't look at Chu Xuan'er's peerless appearance, but the mad women did everything. Oh. Come, take you to visit the Jade Girl Peak for the teacher. While Yi Chen was shaking, Chu Xuan'er stubbornly lifted Yi Chen again, stepping into the void like a little chick, but he didn't find it. Yi Chen's face had been scrambled with black lines. Falling down again, in front of a flower and tree, the petals are scattered and colorful, and the depth of the flower and tree is a small attic. This is the Jade Ladies' Pavilion, where I usually meditate and practice. Pointing at the small attic, she didn't wait for Yi Chen to speak. She left Yi Chen again, and stopped in front of a pool of water. This pool is really wonderful. The water waves are not rippling, and the clouds are lingering on it. Before you approach, there will be a vigorous vitality breath. This pool is pretty good. Yi Chen's eyes were bright, and he rubbed his hands and walked forward, greedily sucking the breath flowing out of the pool, and vaguely, he could practice the rich and fragrant medicine smell from the air. This is the Jade Lingqi. Chu Xuan'er spoke and introduced. With that said, she did not forget to take a look at Yi Chen with interest. Soaking the body can help heal injuries, and you will often come here in the future. Hearing this, Yi Chen's mouth twitched. Come here often. What do you mean? Are you going to chop me all over every day? Leave. Chu Xuan'er held up Yi Chen again. I don't see that smooth stone, it's the Weixin stone, so sitting more often on weekdays is good for understanding. It's a ginseng fruit tree, but don't eat it secretly. That's the Yuling garden, which houses spirit beasts. Don't provoke them on weekdays. Chu Xuan'er took Yi Chen around a large circle, and he stopped to introduce him every time he went to a place. Finally, Chu Xuan'er took Yi Chen to a stone gate. The stone gate was huge and heavy, and the rune that Yi Chen couldn't understand was engraved on the door. There was also a large seal character between the gaps between the two doors. What is this place? Yi Chen touched his chin and ran up, stroking Shimon gently. This is the Yuling cave. Chu Xuan'er whispered, this place, I don't want to come near on weekdays. Why? Why? Because someone is retreating inside. Well, Yi Chen gave a light sigh, and could not help looking at Chu Xuan'er. In addition to me and the master, Yunfeng, is there a third person? Chapter 131, Passing Failed. Don't you really think that I am in Lonely Widow? Chu Xuan'er glanced at Yi Chen. Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose, but looked at the shimon again, and was curious about the people who closed it. Remember what I said, it is forbidden to approach here without my permission on weekdays. Chu Xuan'er looked at Yi Chen with a very serious expression. Outside noise will affect retreat. Quote. I understand. Let's go. Chu Xuan'er has consciously stretched out his slim hand, holding Yi Chen's back collar, and left here. In the end, Chu Xuan'er took Yi Chen to a row of bamboo forests. The bamboo was green and the bamboo forest was surrounded by clouds. Through the gaps between the bamboos, one could see a row of bamboo houses in the depths of the bamboo forest. You will live here later. Chu Xuan'er pointed to the bamboo house in the depths. This place is good. Yi Chen grinned. Quiet and empty, it is indeed a good place for cultivation. Sleep peacefully today, tomorrow, start the devil training. Chu Xuan'er left a sentence, the body began to become illusory, and then went away, really come without a trace. Wow. Yi Chen took a deep breath and walked in. Back in the bamboo house, Yi Chen couldn't wait to take out nearly 100 storage bags, and these storage bags, needless to say, were scavenged from Kong Sao. I have to say that this time in the barren forest test, the spoils are exceptionally rich, especially the treasures in Zuo Chiuming, Kong Sao, and Zhongyang are even more abundant, and there are nearly 600,000 as the spirit stone alone. In addition to these, other things like Ling Sao, Lingdan, and spirit artifacts are not among the few. The only thing that regrets Yi Chen is that although there are also mysteries in these people's storage bags, they are all available to him. Nothing. After closing the storage bag, Yi Chen left Ling Dan and Ling Yi alone. I don't know if these elixir can help me to advance to the realm of human beings. Murmured to himself, Yi Chen mixed several elixir with several elixir in the mouth. The elixir of the miracle elixir into the body instantly became a pure psychic element, such as a stream of clear springs flowing into the major meridians of his body, because the dark wounds left by the battering were also restored along with the flow of the psychic element. In the end, the Lingyuan formed by the Lingdan spirit liquid poured into his Danhai. At this moment, the fairy fire in Danhai began to become active, and the small flames grew rapidly, covering the entire Danhai. All the Lingyuan who flowed into Danhai were refined into the purest innocence. In this way, Yi Chen's breath continued to rise, and the barrier that prevented him from advancing to the human realm gradually emerged. Advance me, a murmur murmured, and Yi Chen tried his best to break through that maggot. However, he still underestimated his own bottleneck, but the barrier seemed to be weak, but he could not break through several shocks. Instead, he was vomiting blood after being continuously attacked. I don't believe it. Yi Chen gritted his teeth, his eyes were red, hissing sound burst from his teeth. Break it for me. With a violent drink, he gathered all his strength to hit that barrier again. However, he still did not succeed. Puff. With a gush of blood spurting out, his face was defeated instantly, and the backbite suffered from the failure of Chongguan Pass made his whole body veins very painful. After all, he gave up forcing the barrier. I'm not that I haven't advanced beyond the realm of human beings. How could it be so difficult? Muttered to himself, Yi Chen's fists were tight. In Zhengyang sect, he was a real human realm. He once had the experience of advancing from the condensate realm to the human realm. He never felt that it was difficult to advance to the human realm. Failure puzzled him. Can it be that I am advancing too fast? Or is my foundation too strong to be well qualified? Or is it because my Danhai capacity is too large? Sitting on the bed, he moaned as he felt his chin. In the end, he gave up. Hey, with a sigh, Yi Chen once again stuffed an elixir into his mouth, recovering the advanced backswept dark wounds. An hour's breath adjustment made him return to his peak state. Walking down from the bed, he came to the window, and looked at the moon shadow 7-star ring on his wrist by the mapping of Xinghui's moonlight. This bracelet is really strange. The overflowing power covers the whole body, and it feels like carrying a heavy weight of 500 kilograms on the shoulder. Not only that, even the vitality in the body is suppressed by it. He slowly raised his arm without using his vitality, then stretched his body, and finally, he struggled with his fists. Both strength and speed are suppressed, and even the épée of heaven. Stroking the moon shadow 7-star ring on his wrist, Yi Chen groaned secretly. With this moon shadow 7-star ring suppressed, I can hardly exert even 60% of my strength. Quote. Even so, Yi Chen stretched his body as much as possible, trying to adapt to the feeling of being suppressed by the moon shadow 7-star ring. I don't know when he stopped sweating, climbed to the roof, and looked at the mountains of this inner door. Although the specifications of the inner and outer doors of Heng Yizong are roughly the same, there are actually some differences. The next day, before dawn, Yi Zan was asleep by Chu's honor. I haven't woke up yet. Was struggling like a little chicken, Yi Chen struggled, a black line on his face. When you sleep well, daylily is cold. Yi Chen gave a white look, Chu Shuiner said angrily. Yi Chen was taken to a huge performance stage at the peak of the Jade Girl. Soon, Chu Zan Eryu flicked his hand, and a young man in black appeared in front of Yi Chen. The young man in black was slender, his figure was thin, his eyes were mu, his face was as sharp as a knife, his emotions were not revealed in the cold, and he stood there like a javelin. Yi Chen saw at a glance that the young man in black was a puppet with no emotion. Accurately, he is a mysterious prince. You can call him Feng Ying. Chu Shuiner has found a stone table and said while drinking tea, for a long time, you will be with him and he will be a good sparring for you. Quote. Zan Shuan, isn't it just the true realm of our monk? Yi Chen looked at Chu Shuiner. The most important thing is that he can use the mystery of mystery. Chu Shuiner said without blinking at Yi Chen. Can I use mysterious mystery? Yi Chen froze, his eyes slightly looking at the wind shadow in front of him. Through the eyes of Shanlin, he can easily see through the mystery of Feng Ying's body. Feng Ying's physical body is definitely not comparable to human level ones, and there are two very strange charms in his body, one of which is sealed spiritual power, another magic rune is sealed with mysterious mystery. It's really mysterious. Yi Chen touched her chin, secretly wondering if another day had also created a magical charm for Shuan Zishuan's body, so that she could also perform the mysterious mystery. While Yi Chen was thinking, Chu Shuiner had given Feng Ying's command to attack. Feng Ying is not mysterious, it is very fast, just like his name, fast like the wind, and like a shadow, his shot is a scary palm print. Seeing this, Yi Chen instantly mobilized Danhai's chi and instilled it in the palm of his hand. Ben Lei, accompanied by the thunder, Yi Chen struck out with a single palm, regretful with the wind shadow. Boom! The two palms were facing each other, and the sound of thunder burst immediately. On one side, Feng Ying was unmoved, but Yi Chen stepped back by 3 or 4 steps with his palm to stop her body. Zan Shuan is really outrageous. Yi Chen secretly pursed her tongue, feeling only tingling from the palm to her shoulder. With a single blow, he fell completely out of the wind, although his power was suppressed by the moon shadow 7-star ring. However, the strength of Feng Yingyu cannot be underestimated. While Yi Chen was amazed, the chirping of the sword was already heard across. I saw that Feng Yingyu also moved the fingerprints with his hands quickly, like humans, and his body was more energetic. With his body as the center, a series of sword shadows turned out, each of them screaming and moving. The scalp is numb. Yi Chen's eyes were slightly squinted, especially the left eye Shanlinian, and she could see through the mystery of Feng Ying's body at a glance. He saw that the magic charms that had been planted in the Feng Ying maggot were continuously providing spiritual power for the Feng Ying maggot, but the mystery to be performed by the Feng Ying maggot came from another charm. Thinking to himself, he turned his hands and took out the Qishao sword, and cast it very close. Pound, pound, pound. Suddenly, the sound of metal collision sounded one after another. Although it is a cricket, Feng Ying's attack is very strong, and there is a continuous supply of spiritual power. The sword that is constantly flying and hits Yi Chen's sword array frantically. Come for me. Stabilizing the position, Yi Chen's long sword waved, pointing at the shadow of the wind. The defensive sword array of the heavens instantly transformed into the attack sword array of the heavens. However, what surprised him was that the Feng Ying maggot had no defense at all, and let the flying sword shadow wipe out sparks on him, rushing all the way, as fast as the wind, and a palm print whistling. Shake the mountains. Yi Chen responded very quickly, hit the mountain with a punch, and regretted Feng Ying again. Pedal pedal. With a single blow, Yi Chen lost again. You're stubborn. Yi Chen cursed, wanting to stand up to counterattack, but Niu Yingying's 7-star ring suppressed his power, making it difficult for him to play even the usual 6 Chengdu, let alone his opponent as a mysterious puppet. Boom. On the opposite side, Feng Yingyu shot again, punched a huge punch, and instantly knocked Yi Chen out. Chapter 132, Unable to Turn Over. A Yang Finger. As soon as he landed, Yi Chen instilled all his qi into his fingers. One finger pierced the air, but he ate again, and the pride of his positive finger suffered the first setback. Only in Feng Ying Kui Lei sparks came from his body. What kind of material is used to make it? The body is so hard. Yi Chen secretly booed. Just thinking about it, the Feng Ying Yan on the other side moved his fingerprints again, and it looked like he was going to perform the secret method again. He was really rude. He was continuously supplied with spiritual power, one after another. Do you think I will give you a chance again? Yi Chen sneered. The beast of heart beast angry jumped with tiger fluttering upright and cooperated with the show, instantly killed Feng Yingyu's body, and strongly interrupted Feng Yingyu's seal. Roar, roar, roar. Soon, the roar of the beast sounded. Yi Chen once again performed the domineering melee combat technique. He is like a beast going down the mountain, and the way out of the gloves is even weird, sometimes like a tiger, sometimes like a fierce ape, sometimes like a male lion, sometimes like the wolf grabs, pats, cheers, and uses hands, feet, knees, and shoulders together. Every joint on the body becomes a fierce weapon. However, his highly reliable melee combat technique was also suppressed in front of Feng Yingyu. He still underestimated Feng Yingyu's ability to fight in close quarters. Every time he took a shot, he would be blocked by Feng Yingyu, and Feng Yingyu's body was stiff. Even if he hit him once in a while, it would be useless. How can I fight this? Yi Chen cursed and kept back, unable to lift his head while being beaten by Feng Ying. Not long after the battle, he was extraordinarily embarrassed, full of sword marks and fleshy. I'm not going to fight, I'm not going to fight. Yi Chen yelled, chasing the stage and running around. How to fight this? The speed is suppressed, the power is suppressed, the opponent is physically hard, and there is a continuous supply of spiritual power. From the beginning, this matchup is doomed to be extremely sad. If you can't hit this, you can't do it. Chu Shuiner, who was drinking tea in front of the stone table, glanced at this side, but ignored it. If you want to fight, take me this ****** moon shadow 7-star ring. You want to be beautiful. Chu Shuiner smiled. Practice. There is always a bitterness. If you want to become stronger, you must first learn to be beaten. If you are beaten too much, the skin will naturally thicken. Rest assured, it won't kill anyone. Quote. Bye. As soon as Chu Shuiner spoke, he almost vomited blood to Yi Chen. Continue. Chu Shuiner held up the teacup leisurely and took a sip of tea gracefully. She ignored the yelling of Yi Chen. Boom. Boom. Feng Ying's attack was more fierce, speed and strength were far above Yi Chen. Yi Chen's many secrets were exhausted, but he was still rolled up by the inability to be crushed. His strength rolled in his body, but he was suppressed by the Moon Shadow 7-star ring. With what? The whole Jade Girl Peak is filled with the voice of Yi Chen's ghosts crying, so that when a disciple passing by the mountain passes by, he can't help but glance at it. If he doesn't know, he thought someone was killing a pig. 3 hours later, Feng Ying stopped the attack. Looking at Yi Chen again, he was lying on the battle platform in a breath of breath, like a dead pig. His appearance was extremely miserable, his clothes were ragged and his blood was dripping. He was not even recognized by his relatives. Give you an hour's recovery time. Under the stage, Chu Shuner sips his fragrant tea while flicking his jade hands, and hits a miracle with purple light. After an hour, continue. You mad girl, Yi Chen cursed secretly, but still grabbed Ling Tan and stuffed it into her mouth. Although he hasn't been in touch with this beautiful master for a long time, he knows this girl so much. Once he says it, everything is done. He is certain that even if he doesn't fully recover, Chu Zan will come back after an hour. The child will surely give the order of the attack to the ground shadow. Therefore, in order to receive less crime, all he has to do is to recover as much as possible within an hour. When Ling Dan entered the body, it quickly melted away, supplementing his consumption, repairing his wounds. In addition to his strong recovery power, his sloppy breath quickly condensed, and his injuries quickly recovered. The condensed Qi realm is to be able to persist for 3 hours under the repeated attacks of Feng Yingyu. Good disciple, you really surprised me. Yi Chen, Chu Shuner, who was sitting on the stage and recovering her wounds, looked at Pan Wu murmured. Although unexpected, Chu Shuner wasn't too shocked, because since she met Yi Chen has given her too much shock. Compared to those, the scene in front of her is really not worth mentioning. Attack. 1 hour later, Yi Chen, who was still meditating and recovering from his injuries, heard Chu Shuner's offensive command. Suddenly, Feng Ying, who stood at the opposite side, suddenly started and stepped down, stepping on Yi Chen like a shadow, and waving his hand was a roar of palm prints. Yi Chen has long stood up, never retreating, and his whole body is instilled in the palm of his hand, shaking his fist with regret. Boom! Fist palms staggered, Feng Ying trembled still, but Yi Chen was beaten back and snorted. The war is back. Like 4 hours ago, Yi Chen had been unable to stand up since the start of the duel. He was already in just half an hour. What? With a roar of irritation, Yi Chen was forced to commit suicide. He never wanted to succumb to the present. Although Feng Ying is embarrassed, he is like his nemesis. All major mysteries are restrained. Speed, strength and self-cultivation were also suppressed. In the presence of Feng Yingyu, he had only been abused. Why? Can't hold it up. Chu Zan'er laughed loudly from the audience. Remove this bracelet to me, I'll beat him. On the stage, Yi Chen scolded and grinned while resisting Feng Ying's offensive hard. That's why you're looking for a teacher. It was originally. Yi Chen was overturned by Feng Ying's palm, then rolled away and hid out, cursing. I originally fell in the wind. You still use this broken bracelet to suppress my speed and strength. I blame if I can win. Quote. It seems you still don't understand what I'm saying. Chu Shuner got up for the first time, with a rare and serious look. Under pressure, a person's potential will be different from that of ordinary people. What about you? What I heard just complaining. Admittedly, your strengths are very different, but your gap is only in strength and speed. You have no belief in victory from the beginning. Once people don't have this belief, they will give you even stronger strength. Just stunned. Quote. Having said that, Chu Shuner glanced at Yi Chen on the stage. You dying that day against the purple shirt, you can turn defeat into victory. Now facing an unemotional shame, do you have that undefeated faith? While practicing, when there is a fearless heart and the Tao is unstable, why face the thorns of the road ahead? You can lose, but you are worthy of defeat. Yi Chen was silent, and Chu Shuner saw the blood, leaving him speechless. As an apprentice, he could not resent the harshness of the master. He was too arrogant. He was afraid of the strength of the wind and shadow from the beginning, and lost the belief that he would win from the bottom of his heart. Next, I won't give Feng Ying an order to stop attacking until you fall. Under the stage, Chu Shuner finally glanced at Yi Chen, then flicked his sleeves, stepped into the void, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Boom! On the stage of Yanwu, Feng Ying attacked more violently. Yi Chenjiao lost his move, but his face became calmer a lot. Conviction to win, Yi Chen muttered as he retreated. I was frightened from the beginning, fearing the power of Feng Yingyu, and had no courage to fight. Cultivate all the way, be fearless. He thought of a big match outside, a fierce match, an emergency like the last battle. He never gave up half dead, but now he timidly fought in front of an unemotional puppet. Master, I understand what you said. The words murmured, Yi Chen clenched his fists violently. Shake the mountains. He punched out and regretted Feng Ying, he still threw back blood. Feng Yingyu is as strong as ever, and even the attack has been fierce. Every time he makes a shot, he will let Yi Chenshuan play what I. He has no emotion, the attack is not light or heavy, and he has never left his hand. Puff, puff, Yi Chen was still crushed and beaten, blood traces were printed on his body. Although he was still suppressed by death, this time he lost one impetuous, one more quiet, even if it fell completely, but still carried on hard, even if the injury continued to increase, but it was still difficult in the Shadow Kui Lei circulation. Suddenly, there was an inexplicable sublimation in his state of mind. Bathed in his own blood, he suddenly had forgotten the pain, and really saw the blood. Under Feng Ying's powerful offensive, he entered a mysterious state. Although his strength was weaker than Feng Ying, he found another strength, that is, the belief of victory and the undefeated will, and this power finally merged into a kind of invincible warfare. Kill. With a roar, Yi Chen's temperament changed greatly, as if a male lion awakened from his slumber, the silent blood boiled, like a fire burning. During the **** battle, he ran the secret method of the barren refining body, no longer evaded, and regretted it with Feng Ying. You give me a hand, I give you a punch, you hit me with a knife, I slash you with a sword, and it's the kind of game that hurts the enemy 1000 and self-damages 800. Click it, click it. Yi Chen's body clicked like this. The meridians of bones continued to break during the war, but they continued to reorganize and heal under the operation of the barren body. The pain of tearing was covered by the invincible war. Maybe someone thinks Yi Chen is a lunatic. At this moment, even Yi Chen himself thought he was crazy. The more powerful Feng Ying is, the more excited and crazy he is, because this is a goal, even a goal that he has to accomplish with his own blood. In nothingness, Chu Shuner showed an elusive figure, and quietly looked at Yanwutai below. Yi Chen's **** figure fell in her eyes, looking extremely dazzling, and the thin figure was desperately desperate. Little guy, don't blame being too harsh on the teacher. Murmured softly, Chu Shuner jade hands could not help but clenched, there was a bit of intolerance in the beautiful eyes, several times I tried to stop the wind and shadow, but did not pay all actions. Yi Chen, from the moment you become my disciple, you are doomed to the mission you will carry. Chapter 133, Flaw. Boom, boom. The sound of the battle on the stage of Yanwu stopped. On one side, after Feng Ying took a palm shot, he stood still and stood there like a benchmark. On one side, Yi Chen had fallen, and he had become a blood man, and several sense and bones were exposed. This time he was knocked down. He did not stand up and was unable to stand up again. It is true that he understood Chu Shuner's words and possessed the conviction and undefeated will, but the absolute suppression of his strength still left him powerless. At this moment, night has come. Chu Shuner appeared, walked down from the air of nothingness, and picked up the fainting Yi Chen. You've done a good job. Looking at Yi Chen's **** face, Chu Shuner smiled reassuringly. Soon, Yi Chen was put into the Yuling Pond by Yunfeng. As soon as Yi Chen was put in, the peaceful jade pool was rippling with ripples, the aura of envelopes covered Yi Chen, the hazy cloud covered his body, the water of the jade pool pooled by many elixir, a vortex was formed with Yi Chen's body as the center of gravity. With your horrible resilience and the healing effects of this jade spirit pool, I'm afraid it will be alive in less than 3 hours. Aside, Chu Shuner smiled at Yi Chen, but he didn't stop for too long. He put a lot of restraints beside the Yuling pool, and then he walked away. After Chu Shuner left, Yi Chen trembled. The crystal of Yulingqi was so clear that it was like purifying the sacred holy water, washing away the blood stains and fatigue of his whole body. Although in a state of fainting, he can clearly feel that the water of Yuling pool is being injected into his body through every pore in his body, such as a cool water spring, nourishing his major meridians and bones. Somehow, he slowly opened his eyes. Shaking his head, he glanced around and found himself there. Yu Ling Kai, it really is a sacred place for healing. With a slight smile, Yi Chen closed her eyes again, and actively pulled the Yu Ling Kai into the body, turning it into the water of the majestic Ling Yuan, and was refined into the true by the immortal fire. Gas. Soon, his dry Danhai was quickly filled, and his injuries were also recovered under the operation of the wild barren body. The rotten flesh was discarded and replaced by new flesh and blood, and his body glowed again. Time passed, and the blink of an eye was 3 hours. Yi Chen opened his eyes for the second time. After the training and healing of Yulingqi, he returned to the peak. Call. A long spit of stale air was spit out, his face glowed with glory, he clearly felt his own change, and his body was transparent and comfortable, like a reborn. Yi Chen knew that in the process of confrontation with Feng Yingyu, he was dying more than once, wandering back and forth on the edge of life and death. Now that the wound is healed, there is a feeling of rebirth, and his mood sublimated. Experience between life and death, the sublimation of essence. Yi Chen murmured and realized too much. Suddenly, he found that his beauty master was not as impersonal as she was, and she had a tendency to violence. Once she took it seriously, she was severe and severe. The so-called strict teacher was a high apprentice. Yi Chen had a feeling that although being an apprentice to Chu Shuner, he would suffer a lot, but under this oppression, he was more fulfilled in his cultivation journey. You're awake. The sound of a natural female voice sounded, accompanied by a scent of incense, and Chu Shuner Chenying turned into a ghost beside the Yuling pool. Seeing Chu Shuner, Yi Chen turned over and jumped out of the Jade Lingqi, and worshipped Chu Shuner sincerely. Thank you, Master, for teaching you. I thought you could break through to the realm of human beings this time, why are you still condensed? Chu Shuner glanced at Yi Chen, and there were many surprises in her beautiful eyes. Supposedly, you should have broken through already. Quote. Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose and coughed. He still concealed from Chu Shuner that he had opened up the Danhai, and the condensate opened up the Danhai. He was already in a different category. Compared with the ordinary condensed environment, he wanted to break through, and it was difficult. More than that, when he was healed in Yulingqi before, he also thought about hitting the barrier to the human realm again, but he gave up after all. You have your secret, and I will never ask more. Chu Shuner glanced at Yi Chen and set out to put a sap in the Jade Lingqi. Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose again, smirked, and hurriedly shifted the topic. That, Master, can I go down the mountain to go around? I haven't had time to see what the inner door looks like. Why, can't wait to see the little lover so soon. The first time I came to the inner door, where did the little lover come from? Yi Chen pouted. Is that your thing? Chu Shuner poured the fluid into the Jade Lingqi while saying casually, I want to go down the mountain, but if you have to defeat Feng Ying, if you can defeat him today, I will let you down the mountain today. If you beat him tomorrow, I will let you down the mountain tomorrow. If you can't beat him all your life, then I'm sorry, you will stay here at Yunfeng for a lifetime. Quote. Hearing this, Yi Chen twitched sharply at the corners of his mouth, feeling that he had fallen into the pit, and Chu's honor was filling the soil inside. Here, Chu Shuner has spilled the last psychic liquid into the Jade Lingqi. Let's go. Without waiting for Yi Chen to speak, Chu Shuner has stretched out his jade hand, and Sheng Sheng took Yi Chen up and walked towards Yantai Wutai. Boom, boom. Soon, there was a thunderous sound on the stage of Yanwu, and Feng Ying's attack was still fierce, giving Yi Chen no chance to stand up. Later in the night, Yi Chen, who was blood, was thrown into the Yuling pool to heal. So, 3 days passed quietly. For the past 3 days, every few hours, Yi Chen was thrown into the battle of Wutai and Feng Ying by Chu Shuner sturdily. Until Yi Chen was beaten and couldn't stand up, he was thrown into Yuling pool to heal. Devil training, inhuman training. However, in this devil training, although Yi Chen has suffered a lot, he has also tasted the sweetness. Although the period of 3 days was short, he had fought with Feng Yingyu for no less than 20 games, and he clearly felt that his body had become stronger and the fighting force had advanced by leaps and bounds. And as the war continued, he also gradually adapted to the suppression of the Moon Shadow 7-star rings. Although he lost and lost again, under the fierce attack of Feng Ying, the time of persistence was significantly longer. It was another sleepless night. Yi Chen, who had just crawled out of the Yuling pond, was thrown into the stage again by Chu Xuaner. As soon as what I was staged, the wind and shadow rushed like ghosts. Today accompany you until dawn. Yi Chen roared into the sky, and Danhai burst out with anger. Then you fight slowly. Chu Xuaner yawned, and then stretched back comfortably, and then turned away. Remember what I said, defeat the wind shadow, and then let you go down the mountain. Roar. In response to Chu Xuaner, the low and vigorous dragon groaned, and Yi Chen remembered that Kong Long took a half step back to beat Feng Ying. Ben Lei forced back Feng Ying. Yi Chen jumped ape, Ling Tian is a palm of thunder. Shake the mountains. Then, the domineering mountain fist hit, and Feng Ying, who had not yet established his footing, was punched by Yi Chen. But after all, Feng Ying was embarrassed. I didn't know the pain, and some were just attacking. After holding his body, he broke a big seal of light with one palm, backed Yi Chen's sullen back, and then a fist shadow. Boom, boom. On the performance stage, such sounds are endless. Feng Ying is a ground-level puppet, with majestic spiritual power and many secret methods sealed in the body. The attack is fierce without any defense. As for Yi Chen, from the moment he opened the fight, he enlarged his strokes desperately. When he was lacking in energy, he used Wei Xuandan to replenish the consumption. But Rao is so, his form is also extremely miserable, and his blood is splashed on the battle platform. Time passed and it was almost dawn. As Yi Chen said, he persisted for a night under the fierce attack of Feng Ying. Although I have adapted to the suppression of the Moon Shadow 7-star ring, it is easier said than done to defeat him. Yi Chen insisted while holding back his teeth. There is no flaw. Unless he has the same level of strength, it will be difficult to defeat him. This is the toughest opponent I have encountered. While thinking about it, Yi Chen opened the left eye Shanlan eye again, and wanted to find the flaws of Feng Yingyu through the fairy eye. Okay, I don't know when he had a flash of light, his eyes narrowed slightly, staring at the lower part of Feng Ying's lower abdomen, more precisely, staring at the seal magical power in Feng Ying's inner body. If it is flawed, it should be you. With a faint smile, Yi Chen seemed to have identified the source of the problem. It seems that I have stepped into a misunderstanding from the beginning. With a smile again, Yi Chen stepped back quickly with the mysterious footwork of Shuoying Thousand Fantasy, on the one hand, secretly trying to figure out the flaws of Feng Ying. The reason Feng Yingyu can cast mysteries and mysteries without restriction is because he has spiritual support. Then, the flaw in Feng Ying's body is the amulet sealed with spiritual power in the body. If the amulet is destroyed, the mysterious mystery of the seal in Feng Ying's body will be nothing. I think it's too complicated. He muttered a smile, and Yi Chen stuffed 3 Weishuanden into his mouth. Soon, the energy in his body was quickly replenished. Yi Chen's style of play has also changed. Instead of embarrassing herself and Feng Ying Kui Lei, she gathers strength secretly, and gathers a force that is enough to break Feng Ying Kui Lei body. On the battle platform, such a scene appeared. Yi Chen did not hide or fight, and was chased by the wind and chased the stage. I do not know when, a red light flew out of Yi Chen's sleeve, and he was firmly grasped in his hands. After that, Yi Chen Danhai really rolled out, all instilled into the Qishao sword. Hum, hum, filled with true qi, the Qishao sword buzzed and moved, reflecting the moonlight that was about to dissipate, showing a sharp sword mang. If a sword came out, there would be a horrible hole breaking through the rocks. Ha! As a sword screamed, Yi Chen's backward body slammed forward, and after being struck by Feng Ying's palm, Kai Shao's sword stabbed sharply, pointing directly at Feng Ying's lower abdomen. Ha! The sound of a metal collision sounded instantly. Although Feng Ying's flesh was hard, it was still penetrated by Yi Chen's peak with a sword hole, and the magic seal sealed in the body's lower belly was also penetrated on the spot. Boom! Feng Ying unveiled it with a single palm, overturning Yi Chen. And in his lower abdomen, Yi Chendong penetrated a hole, and among the destroyed charms, a stream of spiritual power overflowed and dissipated between heaven and earth. Without spiritual power, you cannot cast mysterious mysteries, you cannot cast mysterious mysteries, you are a pile of waste copper and rotten iron. Yi Chen, who was overthrown, has already rushed over like a lion. Break you! Quote. Chapter 134, Scrap Copper. Boom. Yanwutai roared through Jade Girl Peak, and Yi Chen threw back the wind shadow with a punch. Feng Ying Kui Lei counterattacked and launched with one palm. However, this palm is really far from the previous one. Everything was because of the seal's magical power in his body was destroyed by Yi Chen, and his palm, although it was not a weak metaphysical skill, had no spiritual power to support it, and it was just superficial. It's my turn this time. Yi Chen B's throat shot like a shell. Shake the mountains. Before waiting for Feng Ying to stabilize his figure, he came forward with a domineering punch. Quang dang. A punch seemed to hit the steel plate, and sparks were also rubbed on the surface of Feng Ying's body, but there was no Feng Ying of the spiritual body. The body was sunk by Yi Chen's punch on the spot, and a punch was clearly visible. Ben Lei. Yi Chen shot again, instilling all his vitality on the palm of his hand, and one palm left a palm print on Feng Ying. Kong Long. The more powerful dragon mystery exploded. Feng Ying smashed back and forth, and also fought back several times during the period, but after the amulet in the body was broken, it was unknown that the strength dropped, and even the speed was too slow, and it was too late to keep up with Yi Chen's rhythm. Your grandfather. I finally raised my eyebrows and exhaled. Yi Chen yelled, irritated, and the sullen air in his heart was choked out. He struck Feng Ying in 3 or 2 steps. He clenched the tentacles with both hands and instilled it. A posture of splitting Washan smashed firmly on Feng Ying's shoulder. Quang dang. It was the sound of a metal collision again, and a sword of heaven struck, almost removing Feng Ying's arm. Let you hit me, let you hit me. Yi Chen whispered constantly, twitching the heavens to open and close, and every time he took a shot, he could leave deep sword marks on Feng Ying Kui Lei. Unless Feng Ying's body was hard, he will be split in half on the spot. Although Feng Yingyu fought back several times, they were all suppressed. Broken. With Yi Chen's yell, he punched Feng Ying's body with a punch, and then the second amulet in Feng Ying's body was caught. This mysterious seal sealed the mysterious method. He also wanted to get the body of Xuan Zixuan. At this moment, the charms in Feng Ying's body were destroyed one by one and taken away, and there was no force to turn over. Break you. After a loud curse, Yi Chen inserted Tianyi on the stage of Yanwu, and then killed with bare hands. Quang dang. Ha. Next, there was such a sound on the stage of Yanwu. Every time Yi Chen took a shot, he could leave a punch on Feng Ying's body. Give me up. At last, Feng Yingyu's entire body was stirred by Yi Chen. Boom. Holding on to Feng Ying's leg tightly, Yi Chen slammed it on the Yanwu platform, the hard Yanwu platform, being hit by this, and smashing out of a human-shaped pit, such a sturdy fall. It was his usual play. Let you hit me. Yi Feng slammed again, and Yi Chen smashed it on the stage again. Let you hit me. This was the 3rd time. Let you hit me. Feng Yingyu was moved a full circle, and was smashed for the 4th time. Boom. Boom. The roar was endless, and Yi Chen, a sturdy beast, smashed the wind shadow on the battle platform again and again, and every time he shot, he was accompanied by his howling wolf. Before the dullness, he was vented heartily. I do not know when the roar on the stage of Yanwu stopped. At this time, in the middle of Yanwutai, there was a large pit, which was smashed by Yi Chen, and Feng Ying was lying in it. The entire hard body was distorted, and I didn't see the human form. I didn't know it. What about piles of copper-rotten iron? But at this moment, Yi Chen was squatting beside Feng Yingyu, looking back and forth. I knew it was a bit lighter. Yi Chen muttered as he looked around repeatedly. Heng Yizong's eunuchs are divided into 4 levels of heaven and earth. The reason why he looks at Feng Yingxuan is to study the difference between this Zon and eunuch, in order to help him upgrade Zon in the future. Zon level Kui Lei is much harder than human level Kui Lei. Yi Chen groaned after touching his chin. There are 2 amulets in the mysterious scorpion, one is the secret mystery of the seal, and the other is the spiritual power. Besides these, there must be other restraints in the body of Zon-class magpie. Thinking of these, Yi Chen could not help but rub his eyebrows. He was beaten too much before, so that he turned over to hit Feng Ying and didn't care. Seriously, this has destroyed many of the restrictions in Feng Ying's body. Withdrawing his gaze from Feng Yingyu, Yi Chen took out the magic charm he had seized from Feng Ying's body. Opening the eyes of Shanlin, Yi Chen carefully looked at the amulet in his hand. From the amulet, he saw the intertwined runes, and sometimes he could see one or two pictures. Those were mysterious mysteries. It's really mysterious. Yi Chen touched his chin, his mouth full of sighs, and exclaims, "It is possible to seal the mystery of the mystery in the magic charm." It seems that the first master of the Hengyu sect who initiated this mysticism is a meritocracy, man of Yi Chen. Just thinking, Chu Shuner's voice came over. The voice did not fall, the fragrance came, and Chu Shuner's figure was already on the edge of the exit of Dekang. Seeing Yi Chen in the big pit, and then seeing the shadow of Feng Chen who was beaten at the foot of Yi Chen, her look suddenly became extremely wonderful. Yuko was slightly stretched, and she could not speak for a while. Come on. Feng Ying Kui Lei is her favorite Kui Lei. The materials used to create it are top grade. She has been endowed with mysterious mysteries and spiritual powers, but now it has become a pile of waste copper and iron. Subconsciously, Chu Zan Eryu's hand could not help but cover her heart. On the beautiful cheek, two words were clearly written, distressed. "Master, I defeated him, so I can go down the mountain." Yi Chen smiled and climbed out of the big pit. After hearing that, Chu Shuner bowed his head sharply, glaring at Yi Chen fiercely, and there were still sparks beating in those beautiful eyes. "Boy, do you know how much effort I have spent building this one?" "I don't know." Yi Chen's head shook like a rattle. "If you don't know, you will kill me. You were really good at it." Chu Zan looked at Yi Chen angrily. "You asked me to fight." Yi Chen hurriedly called injustice. "Besides, he hit me first, then talked about it, and repaired it if he was disabled." "Cultivate." Chu Shuner glared at Yi Chen again. "Do you know how hard it is to make the material for making Zan class pupa? Do you know how much energy it takes to make one? Then you can't blame me." Yi Chen spread his hands. "A dead pig is not afraid of boiling water. You asked him to fight with me." As soon as this word came out, Chu Zaner was speechless. Isn't Yi Chen saying the truth? That day, she let Feng Yingyu do Yi Chen's sparring, but what she didn't expect was that Zan-level Ying Fengying was defeated by Yi Chen. Who can this blame? Chu Shuner stunned his stomach, blaming her for being too confident in Feng Ying, and blaming her for being too small to see her baby apprentice. If he gave him a first wife as a companion, he would still be beaten. Scrap iron. Get off. Chu Zan scolded in anxiety. Hearing this, Yi Chen, stunned, hurriedly turned and ran down the mountain, running faster than the rabbit, for fear that Chu Shuner would give him a kick back. After looking at Yi Chen's back, Chu Shuner glanced at the wind shadow in the deep pit again. Except for the angry color in the beautiful eyes, there was only shock. It's still too small to look at this kid. Anger dissipated, Chu Zaner smiled. She knew too much about the horror of Fengying. The ordinary Junyang could not win him at all, but she was cast into a pile of scrap iron by her disciples. Of course, Fengying was her hard work, but she was more the surprise was. In his years, you will be famous, Chu. Chu Zaner smiled softly. The words fell, and a buzz came from Yunfeng in one direction. Chu Shuner turned back sharply. There was still joy in the beautiful eyes, heart is out. Chapter 135, Sky High Price. Running all the way down the Jade Peak, Yi Chen greedily sucked up the aura drifting in the air. Wow! Breathing a deep breath, Yi Chen looked at the inner door. Wherever you look, there are clouds and mists. There are scattered Lingshan mountains, beautiful peaks, towering trees, and trees. In the depths, there are many pavilions and pavilions. Aura is more than 3 times richer than the outer door. Yi Chen muttered from time to time as he walked, it is indeed the inner door, and there are really many disciples in the real world. When they saw Yi Chen, the disciples passing by couldn't help but glance at him, pointing at Yi Chen, and sometimes there was a whisper. This is the kid who buried nearly 100 disciples in the inner door and stripped away their clothes. It's just condensed, strong and outrageous. Along the way, Yi Chen listened to such a discussion, and naturally he wouldn't care about it. While walking, he stopped in front of a magnificent attic. Wanbao Pavilion. He looked at a plaque hung in the middle of the attic, with 3 big characters written vigorously on it, Wanbao Pavilion. Is there a Wanbao Pavilion in the inner door? Yi Chen murmured and touched his chin, glanced at the disciples who came in and out, and he walked in. Like the outer door of the Wanbao Pavilion, the inner door of the Wanbao Pavilion is a self-contained space, with a large space and a wide array of things, such as spiritual fluids, auras, spirit grasses, and mysterious techniques. Yi Chen is right. The voice of the old man came from the oblique side, making Yi Chen can't help looking at him. This look made his eyes light up instantly. The man who speaks is an old man. Like the huge sea at the outer door of Wanbao Pavilion, he also has a big belly and a pair of big eyes. The most important thing is that he looks exactly like the huge sea. Yi Chen is serious, suspected that this old man and twin seas are twin brothers. Elders know me. After wrong, Yi Chen tentatively looked at the old man. Crap, I'm afraid few people in Hengyuzong don't know you. Hearing this, Yi Chen could not help but cough. That's right, just blame him when he entered the inner door. The movement was too big, and this one is enough to make him famous Hengyu. I'm the huge river in the inner door of the Manpower Pavilion. The old man sat on the futon, hoping to know Yi Chen's doubts, and he added, the vast sea of the outer door of Manpower Pavilion is my brother. Quote. After hearing that, Yi Chen's eyes turned round and he looked at Da Chuan suddenly. When your brother is outside, you is your brother, why are you inside? Take care of you. Yi Chen coughed, turned and walked inside. He was like a grocery buyer, picking and picking all the way, and he was babbling all the way. The inner door Wanbao Pavilion sells much more than the outer door Wanbao Pavilion, and the price is not generally high. This jade bottle is good. Holding a jade bottle in his hand, Yi Chen looked up and down. The jade bottle is full of brilliance, but it is a good magic weapon, but at the price, roused Yi Chen's financial resources at this time, and he could not help secretly swallow a mouthful of water, and consciously put the jade bottle back to where it was. 300,000 spirits, you are more fierce than the huge sea. Angrily cursed, Yi Chen lifted his feet and went elsewhere. In the meantime, he called the fairy fire in Danhai more than once, hoping that the fairy fire could guide him. Maybe he could find a baby in this Wanbao Pavilion, maybe he just went all the way. The fairy fire was honest. At 3 hours, he made a full circle, and the baby he liked was a lot, but the price was too high. Returning to the counter again, Yi Chen gathered next to the giant Chuan, and whispered, Elder Pang, do you have a magic charm? The giant Chuanshang sat on the futon with his hands crossed, and when he heard Yi Chen's question, he opened his eyelids and glanced at Yi Chen. There are many types of magic charms, which one are you talking about? Spirit is sealed in that kind of magic, which is the kind of magic that is placed in the body. You're talking about magic charms. Seems. Hearing that, the huge Sichuan eyebrows were raised, and he glanced at Yi Chen again. Only Kui Lei can use Julingfu. What do you want it to use? Is it possible that you still have a mysterious Kui Lei? Zan Shuan, I don't have one, but I have a human-level Shuan. Yi Chen said, summoning Shuan Zishuan. When seeing the one-armed Shi Zishuan, the lazy old eyes of the huge Sichuan finally flashed a look of wonder. Why is this Kong in you? The elder knows this one. Yi Chen looked at Dashuan Chuan suddenly. I saw Da Chuan lightly scratching his beard. This one is one of the first batches of my Hengyu's first mentoring and refining. It was sealed because of many imperfections. How to run your hands. It's inside. Quote. I bought it at Wanbao Pavilion. Yi Chen did not hide it. Don't say it, I understand. Da Chuan waved his hand directly, and then he could not help but rub his eyebrows fiercely, and muttered angrily, my elder brother. Why sell everything? Elder, is there any magic charm that she can use? On the one side, Yi Chen was not interested in knowing those bird things between the huge sea and the huge river. He was concerned about the magic charm that Zizan could use. Junling Rune can only be used if it reaches level Zan. Da Daochuan replied casually, you are obviously human level and incomplete, and the physical strength is far below the standard. Even if sold to you amulet, she can fall apart if she casts a mystic spell. Besides, the amulet and mystic charm need to be used together. Do you have a mystic charm? Quote. What is Xuanlingfu? Yi Chen looked at Dashuanshuan with a grimace. There are 2 amulets in the mystic level, the amulet and the amulet. The amulet is sealed with spiritual power, and the amulet is sealed with mysticism. To perform the mystic spell requires the mysticism in the amulet and the spiritual power in the amulet. Do not know. Yi Chen scratched his head awkwardly. Of course, he knew the two amulets in the Zon class magpie, but no one told him that another amulet was called Zon Ling Fu. It turned out that the magic sign of the seal mysticism is called the mysterious charm. With a murmur in his heart, Yi Chen could not help but open the storage bag and glanced at a glowing magic charm lying inside. That is the mysterious charm, which is from the body of Feng Ying. Got it. Elder Pang, then how to raise the human class to Zon class. After looking at it, Yi Chen looked at the huge river. This is simple. Da Chuan did not conceal it, saying, the biggest difference between Zon level Kui Lei and human level Jushi is the material used to make them. Zon level Kui Lei's body is harder and more flexible than human level Kui Lei. Upgrade to Zon level magpies, and you will use your life to refine the best materials into human level maggots. Quote. So, if you make the human body's physical body as hard and flexible as Zon level, even if you upgrade to Zon level? Yi Chen asked tentatively. How can it be that simple? Giant Xuanbai gave Yi Chen a glance. The hardness and flexibility of the body is only a major premise. In addition to this, there are many prohibitions imprinted on the body of the mysterious magpie, which mimics the body of a monk. There are also meridian bones. The amulet is their dantian, and the amulet is the mystery we gave them, understand? Quote. Speaking of this, Da Chuan raised his hand again and continued, the reason why the body of the turtle is to reach a certain level of rigidity and flexibility is that at the same time as the use of mysticism, it will also hurt the turtle itself. And the flexibility is not up to standard, and it's very likely that crickets will fall apart. Quote. If I say that, I will understand. Yi Chen touched his chin, and once again leaned against the huge river, and asked, that gathering spirit charm is not expensive. Seeing that Daquan Chuan yawned and stretched his arms, he raised his asterisk lazily. 20,000. Yi Chen asked tentatively. What do you want? 2,000 spirit stones. Want to buy amulet, play. The huge Sichuan voice raised sharply, scaring Yi Chen with a trembling spirit. Should be 200,000 spirits. Yi Chen twitched the corner of his mouth. Nonsense. It's expensive too. Yi Chen swallowed secretly. This is still only the lowest level amulet, but a low-level amulet is enough for a sacred magpie to use for a long time. If it is a high-level amulet, 2 years a year is not a problem. Of course, a high-level amulet more expensive, 600,000 spirit stones. With that said, Da Chuan still raised his little thumb. The corner of Yi Chen's mouth has been ripped more than once, and he thought he was already rich with hundreds of thousands of spirit stones, but in the inner door of Wanbao Pavilion, it was not a star point. A magical charm required 200,000. He felt himself instantly so poor. Pound. On the one hand, Da Guangchuan has got up, knocked Zizan's body with his fingers, and groaned, if you say that you have such a strong hardness than ordinary human-grade crickets, they are still worse than Zon-class crickets. Many, even if I gather you amulet and mystic amulet, I can't hold back the power of that mystic shock. I want to upgrade her, but I will give it to the blood. Quote. Elder, do you have good materials for refining puppets? Yes, I'm afraid you can't afford it. Da Daochuan raised his eyebrows and said, conservatively, if you want to upgrade to Zon class, you need to spend at least 800,000 spirit stones to buy materials. Quote. 800,000. Yi Chen's eyes suddenly straightened. 800,000 is a conservative estimate, said Xuanyu, and also calculated an account for Yi Chen. Now, 800,000 spirit stones bought materials to upgrade for puppets, 200,000 for Zhuling Fu, and 300,000. Mystic charms add up to 1.3 million spirit stones. Boy, are you sure you have so many spirit stones? Quote. Yi Chen didn't need to be counted by the huge river. Yi Chen was already in his heart. He had a mysterious amulet in his storage bag. What was missing was upgraded materials and amulet, which meant that he needed 1 million spirit stones. Thinking to himself, Yi Chen couldn't help but glance sideways at the next Zizishuan. He was too aware of the weirdness of this respectful prince, who was strong when he was strong, attacked fiercely, and could absorb the moonlight of Xingwei. He was certain that if she was upgraded to a black magpie, it would definitely be better than that funging magpie. Spend 1,000,000 spiritual stones in exchange for a mysterious magpie worthy of the real sun. Yi Chen had already decided in his heart, there is no money to earn again, this sale is absolutely cost-effective. Come, turn left, go home and save your money. Here, Da Guangchuan saw Yi Chen silent and pushed him gently. Pushed by a huge river, Yi Chen turned back again. I stepped in front of the huge river again, and rubbed my hands together and smiled. Elder Pang, I want to upgrade the materials and the magic charm, can you always be cheaper? 1,000,000 spirit stones, don't counter offer. Dashuan Chuan rejected. On hearing that, Yi Chen pouted his lips, if it's not cheap, you can send me something. Speaking, Yi Chen didn't forget to point to an alchemy furnace with a height of about a foot, not far away, or else you can send me that alchemy furnace. After hearing this, Chuan gave a glance at the alchemy furnace and looked at Yi Chen angrily. You do pick it, the alchemy furnace is worth 200,000. Besides, you are not an alchemist, if the alchemy furnace is useful, change it for a cheaper one. Maybe I'll send you as soon as I'm happy. Quote, I want that alchemy furnace. Well, you add another 100,000, then the alchemy furnace will be sent to you. Da Chuan raised his hand again. Closing. Yi Chen promised to be refreshing, immediately took out a storage bag, and suddenly put it on the counter. Does your kid really have so many spirit stones? Da Guangchuan opened the storage bag with an unbelievable face and ripped open the bag and glanced into it. There were not only the spirit stones but also the jumbled things in the fluid. Adding up is worth 1.1 million spirit stones. Sister Chu Zan is really a big deal, and I really reward you with so many things. Da Dao Chuan hissed and looked, boy, you are a good master. Whoa, Yi Chen swaggered, and that was all Lao Su earned. What he said was the truth. The spirits and sap in the storage bag were all robbed by Kong Sao and them from the trial in the barren forest. As for his beauty master, he hadn't even given him a piece of spirit stone. Instead, he put him on the ground for 3 days and too fat. Thinking of this, he also subconsciously touched his swollen face. Wait, I'll get the materials for you. De Weiquan had collected the storage bag and turned in. After the huge river went in, Yi Chen Ma Lu took away the alchemy furnace not far away, and he also did not forget to follow a few bottles of spiritual fluid. Soon, he came out with a storage bag in his arms, and handed it to Yi Chen. The materials used to upgrade the maggot, the magic charm, and some methods of imprinting the ban on the body are all inside. Elder Xie. Yi Chen took the storage bag, glanced inside, and found that most of it was shiny, and there was a glowing magic charm. Boy, Sister Chu Linger is out. Chu Linger. Who is Chu Linger? Yi Chen, who was looking down at the storage bag, couldn't help raising his head and looked at Dashuan in doubt. Chapter 136. Pussy, Group Fight. Chu Linger is, forget it, I'll go to Yunfeng in person the other day. De Wang Chuan finally didn't answer, just waved his hand and sat back on the futon, then raised his hand and fell again the status of the fake Mei. Seeing this, Yi Chen didn't ask any more, took the storage bag and went out. Out of the inner door of Wanbao Pavilion, Yi Chen didn't stay, and wanted to go back as soon as possible to upgrade Shi Zishuan. However, as he passed the corner of a Lingshan mountain, he suddenly froze. He saw that there were 2 people hanging on a thick spiritual tree not far away, and they were dangling in the wind, walking into a row, but Xie Yun and Shang Oh, I'm going, what's the situation? Yi Chen froze, walked 3 or 2 steps under the spirit tree, and looked at Shang and Xie Yun stupidly. The goods were blue and swollen, and there were footprints all over the body, and there was a mouth above the robe, and the hair was like a chicken's nest. I wonder if they had just fought with a dog. What the **** are you looking at? Let's put it down for Lao Su. Seeing Yi Chen, Xie Yun and Shang are louder than one. Yi Chen coughed, but still gathered his strength and cut the bundle of immortal rope that tied the 2 men. Fuck, he shivered. As soon as they were put down, the 2 sat on the ground with endless scolding. I'm dripping, who gave it to me? Yi Chen squatted down, but there was a strange feeling in her heart, that is, looking at Shang and Xie Yun who were swollen, how did it feel cool? Qi Yang. Xie Yun angrily cursed. Sao Hole. Let Chen Yi stunned that Bear's two names turned out to be quoted Sao Hole. They beat the feelings of the people as not the same. You two are full. Yi Chen handed over 2 bottles of spiritual fluid. I won't tell Kong Sao. Although this is not a good bird, it is also a real realm of real prices, and there is Chi Hao's cousin Chi Yong also provokes you. I heard that he was the 8th person in the 9th true disciple of the inner door, and it was strange to ask him to fight him without being beaten. Quote, not yet because of you. As soon as Yi Chen said this, Shang-Er and Xie Yunqi glanced at Yi Chen with sparks in their eyes. Your grandfather, I have provoked anyone to provoke anyone. As soon as I got out of the mountain gate early in the morning, Kong Sao slapped him. The spittle star Shang-Er scolded flying around. I'm not the same. After I went to the inner gate to pick up the grass, I was stunned as soon as I walked in. Xie Yunzhong yelled, you're good, we've all been crouched at Yunvi Peak all day, we've been beaten up. Quote, after hearing this, Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose subconsciously, and the feelings Qi Yong and Kong Sao blew their breath on Xie Yun and Shang-Er. To be honest, another person limped over not far away. This man is light-skinned, and full of muscles, but he is so fierce at the moment that he is still holding a pair of sledgehammers in his hands. Take a closer look, but it is not Huo Tang. Seeing this, Yi Chen twitched sharply. To say that Huo Tang is no better than Xie Yun and Shang-Er, and his face is blue and swollen, his footprints are more and more, and even the sledgehammers have become pot-shaped. Have you been stunned? Xie Yun and Shang-Er looked at Huo Tang up and down. Fart. Huo Tang squatted down in desperation, Zhang Yang's **** raised, and said he was singled out, even playing with Lao Su. Zhang Hao's cousin Zhang Yang. Speaking of this, Huo Tengdai looked at Yi Chen again. All right, his 3 brothers were exiled on the same day, and all of the people who shot were his cousins or siblings who were outside the house of enemies. This was obviously premeditated. Yi Chen resolutely, it was not only Xie Yun and the 3 of them. If Xiao Jing and Wang Lin had placed an order, they would probably have been stunned. Kong Sao and they could not find Yi Chen, and they all blew on Xie Yun. He shivered and called back. Xie Yun cursed and grinned, Lao Zi has not suffered such a big loss since he debuted. Hit, you must. Huo Tang and Shang-Er also scolded the spitting stars flying. Come, total. Under the spirit tree, such a scene quickly appeared, 4 people squatted on the ground, muttering above their heads. There were disciples passing by, and there were many stoppers. When they saw the murmurs above the heads of these 4 people, they all showed a sorrow, and they didn't have to think about it. They also knew that the 4 of them didn't think about anything good. What are you doing? Seeing a bunch of inner disciples looking at them like monkeys, Shang-Er could not help his throat. Upon hearing this, a bunch of inside disciples suddenly flew together. Although they were not afraid of Shang-Er, they were afraid of Yi Chen, the restless master, and they still remembered the shocking scene before the exit of the barren forest a few days ago. The inner door, but each slammed. Can you do this? Here, the 3 of Xie Yun have looked at Yi Chen. They are not so easy to be fooled. If they draw a vote to follow, we will be collectively beaten. Big deal. Yi Chen shrugged. Then you must be sure. Huo Tang patted Yi Chen on the shoulder, and then winked at Xie Yun and Shang-Er. The 3 got up together and headed towards the inner door. As for Yi Chen, after the 3 of them left, they got up, twisted their necks, stretched their bodies, and then carried the Tianjian épée, and walked towards one side. Along the way, his eyes were swinging left and right. Who is he looking for? It is natural to find Kong Sao and Zhang Yang. If he sees one of them placing an order, he will not hesitate to lead them to Haoshan. He who is an overcast person will not. Soon, a familiar figure came into his eyes. The man just came out of the library, his face was feminine, but his atmosphere was magnificent. If you look carefully, isn't it Zhang Yang? Yi Chen. Zhang Yang, who had just stepped out of the library, saw Yi Chen, who was swaying blindly, and his face suddenly froze. I remember the scene a few days ago, it was a shame. Seeing Zhang Yang, Yi Chen hurriedly stopped. Without a word, he turned and ran. Where to go? Anger filled his head. Zhang Yang didn't even think about it. He chased and killed him on the spot. His body and footwork were extremely mysterious. Since the end of the barren forest test, Zhang Yang always wanted to find Yi Chen to settle accounts. However, Yi Chen hid in the Jade Peak and left him helpless. Today, it is only strange to see Yi Chen go down the mountain without going crazy. Here, Yi Chen has already taken up the heavenly sword, stepping on the mysterious footwork of the Speed Shadow 1000 Fantasy, and the speed has also increased sharply. You know, at this time he was suppressed by the Moon Shadow 7-star ring, his speed was not at its peak, and he would be caught by Zhang Yang if he was inadvertent. Brother Zhang Yang, the trial of the barren forest is a pure misunderstanding. Yi Chen yelled a few throats behind him as he ran. Master, I have no choice but to rob you of your clothes. All right, it's okay to say that. As soon as this word came out, Zhang Yang's head buzzed and almost burst, his face instantly became hot, and his speed was raised by another level. Seeing this, Yi Chen also played to increase the speed of life. His purpose has been achieved, and Zhang Yang has been successfully attracted. All he has to do is to introduce Zhang Yang into the inner gate behind the mountain in the shortest time. Otherwise, Zhang Yang and Zhuo Qiuming will learn that he has come down the mountain and will follow up, and the consequences that he and Xie Yun were collectively beaten. Soon, Yi Chenru rushed into Haoshan and ran towards the place agreed with him and Xie Yun in advance. Behind him, Zhang Yang hunted in like a crazy dog. Boom, boom. Soon, there was a roar behind the inner gate, and Zhang Yang, who chased and killed Yi Chen, did not realize that he had stepped into the trap set by Xie Yun in advance, and was blown out by a mine bomb on the spot. Kaigan, with a howl, Shang killed the first one, and the mace in his hand suddenly became bigger. Boom! Zhang Yang, who has not yet landed, flew out by Shang on the spot. Earthquake. After that, Huo Teng rose in the air, and when Zhang Yang was about to sacrifice a spirit weapon, he smashed it from the air with a hammer. Crazy Dragon Palm. Xie Yun also moved. The three palms were launched one after another. The scene was full of wind and wind. There were deep dragon chants. The three dragon-shaped palm prints hit Zhang Yang regardless of the order. Zhang Yang, who had just stood up, was immediately lifted. Go out. You guys. Zhang Yang was furious and moved his mind to sacrifice his own spirit. You have it, I have it too. Xie Yun sneered, and an eyebrow flashed in his eyebrow. The next moment, a nail-sized spirit sword flew out. He was repaired in the realm of the sun, and the spirit overflowed in his body. Eligibility for Royal Spirit. LB. Xie Yunyu moved the sword, and Zhang Jian's magical weapon flew out, and even Zhang Yang was a puppet. Brother Zhang. Behind him came the laughter of Yi Chen. Hearing that, Zhang Yang turned around suddenly, without a word, launched with one palm. However, Yi Chen, who was already prepared, jumped away from the palm with a sudden jump, and then a black light came out of his sleeve and was firmly held in his hand. A closer look was exactly the one that hit people. The black iron whip of the soul. What? Soon, Zhang Yang's scream sounded, and Yi Chen slammed it firmly on his head. The whole head was blurred, Qichao bleeds, his eyes are blackened, the most important thing is the soul, which seems to be heavy things hit the average. Boom! Yi Chen waved his whip again, and gave Zhang Yang two more whip, and Zhang Yang was beaten on the spot. I rely. Seeing this, the three of Xie Yun whispered, staring straight at the black iron whip in Yi Chen's hands. They never thought that the black iron whip was so overbearing, and the three whip knocked Zhang Yang down. Especially Shang who already recognized where the iron whip in Yi Chen's hand came from, suddenly felt that the fat on his body was hurt. He was the least optimistic about the iron whip when he was auctioned on the netherworld. Really eyesight. Quick, clean up the battlefield. Yi Chen had collected the iron whip, and Ma Lu took away Zhang Yang's storage bag. The three of Xie Yun also rushed up, just like a robber, got up and down their hands, snatched the baby from Zhang Yang, and even the pendant around his waist couldn't escape doom. This skillful technique didn't do much at first when he looked at chickens and dogs. Zhang Yang was looted for a while, and the four of them threw him into the pit that had been dug long ago. Before burial, Yi Chen was not going to let him fall asleep with the incense. Withdraw. After doing this, Yi Chen waved his hand, and the four disappeared instantly in accordance with the retreat agreed in advance. Chapter 137, Robbery. Inside the mountain behind the inner gate, in a dark cave that is not slippery, Yi Chen and 4 people hid in. "Come here, share the loot," Shang just screamed as soon as he walked in to share the loot. The 4 squatted on the ground, and Yi Chen pulled out Zhongyang's storage bag. However, after opening the storage bag, the corners of the 4 of them twitched. "Where is the play?" Xie Yun snorted first. "Dongyang, really? Let's pull it. It's been a long time, and Bai is busy." Huo Teng sat on the ground with a butt. No wonder they reacted so fiercely, mainly because there was nothing in Zhongyang's storage bag. There were more than 8,000 spirit stones, and there were only 2 or 3 bottles of spiritual fluid. Not seeing one. Compared to the 3 of them, Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose. Zhongyang is in the realm of the sun. Why is there only such a thing in the storage bag? It is not because of him, Yi Chen. In the test of the barren forest, all the babies of Zhongyang were ransacked by him. Zhongyang is now a poor man. 1. I heard that you robbed a lot of babies in the barren forest. The 3 eyes of Xie Yun already looked at Yi Chen. It's gone, it's over. Yi Chen spread his hand. I have just bought the materials for upgrading human-level puppets and the magical charms and mystic charms. I am poorer than you now. It was said that the 3's faces suddenly darkened, and they were really poor. Because of Yi Chen, the 3 of them had been stabbed successively, and their babies were almost robbed. It's okay, you can make more money when you run out of money. Yi Chen patted the 3 of them on the shoulders. Now, after a few hours, I'll introduce another one. If he robs you, we'll rob it back. It's a gift. Quote. Grab it, they're all gone. As a result, the 3 of them lined up neatly, squatting in the cave with their hands. It is vaguely visible that through the gaps in the weeds at the entrance of the cave, they can still see the inner disciples who came to collect the grass in the back mountain. Shu is too secret in the cave, and no one found them. Boy, when are we going to make alchemy? Bored, Xie Yunzheng turned to Yi Chen. Wait a minute, the alchemy of my half-slinger will give me no more psychic herbs. Yi Chen waved his hand. He was telling the truth. Although his fairy wheel eye has the ability to copy and delineate alchemy, many methods of refining elixir can be refined only by looking at it once, but only to let him refining a kind that has never been refined. Erwin Lingdon requires a tremendous amount of energy. He is very busy now. He just bought the upgrade materials and a violent teacher. It would be good to take time out of bed. 3 days, I will give you 3 days. Xie Yun put up 3 fingers. I have prepared the alchemy spirit grass. 3 days later, I went to Jade Peak to find you. 3 days. You were in a hurry. No way, there is something wrong with my practice. It spreads to the soul, and urgently needs Lingyuan Dan. Xie Yun told the truth, sighing and sighing endlessly. If Lingyuan Dan is too expensive, I won't bother you. I see. Yi Chen gave a random reply, then turned over and jumped out of the cave. As planned, I'll get another one. With that said, Yi Chen shone and disappeared, and Xie Yun also got up and went to ambush according to the agreed place, only to wait for Yi Chen to draw people in. Yi Chen stepped out of the cave, and Ma slipped out of the inner gate behind the mountain. As for the first time, he carried the Tianjian épée and walked around 3 times, shaking the inner door, holding a toothpick in his mouth, holding his trouser legs, and looking left and right all the way. The whole form follows the ground. Nothing different. Well, Yi Chen, some passing disciples saw it and evaded one after another. He dared to go down the mountain. I heard Brother Zhongyang looking for him everywhere. For the discussion around him, Yi Chen ignored it directly, still lingering around, hoping to find a few familiar figures. Opposite to him, a man in a white robe appeared. This man is about 20 years old. His black hair flows like a waterfall, and his clothes are automatic without wind. His body is thin, his steps are tough, his face is contoured like a knife, and his look is ancient. Although he is very close to hiding his breath, there was a fierce gas, like sword gas. It's strong. Yi Yao saw the man. Yi Chen frowned slightly, and felt the depression from the young man. I've seen Brother Nifeng. The arrival of the young man provoked many disciples inside. Nifeng. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes for a moment, and murmured in his heart, He is the second disciple who is the disciple of Yu Zhongfeng's main style and the true disciple of Niemann. Stable as a pine, if you walk in the wind, the disciple of Feng Shibo is exactly what he is. Looking at Ni Feng, Yi Chen muttered again in his heart. When speaking, Ni Feng came like the wind. I've seen brother Ni Feng. Like other disciples inside, Yi Chen, a teacher's disciple, also performed a gift. Ni Feng didn't speak, but just nodded and smiled slightly at Yi Chen. His instinct was like his master's style without trace, indifferent, but his smile was like a spring breeze. This person can make deep friends. Looking at the back of Ni Feng's back, Yi Chen said secretly, not arrogant and impatient, calm as a mountain, although indifferent, but without a high attitude. Yi Chen, I killed you. A sudden roar interrupted Yi Chen's thoughts, and a person rushed out from the oblique side, and came forward with a palm. Did not have time to see the person, because of inertia, let Yi Chen wave his arm violently, a regret that Ben lay in the shot man. Boom. In a one-strike confrontation, the two opened their own. Yi Chen can see who the shot was, isn't it the Kong Sao who was taken away by him in the barren forest and buried alive? I'm looking for you. Yi Chen sneered at the corner of his mouth, then said nothing and ran away. Stay. Kong Sao roared, his eyes were blood red, his expression was as stubborn as a demon, and his shot was a big move. A big seal screamed and Yi Chen flew out. Brother Kong, they are all misunderstandings, they are all misunderstandings. In order to lead Kong Sao to Haoshan, Yi Chen was not in love at all. What? Behind him was the violent roar of Kong Sao. Where did he care about the others? The anger filled his eyes and made him pursue and kill Yi Chen like a mad dog. Soon, the two fled one after the other and ran into Haoshan. Boom, rumble. Soon after, a roar came from behind the inner gate. Because he never thought of an ambush, Kong Sao was knocked down by Yi Chen and they were neat, and the shape was not better than Zhang Yang before. The storage bag was taken away, and even his clothes were stripped again. Eventually he was thrown into a previously dug pit and buried alive for the second time. Wow ha ha. In the cave of Haibuchocho, the laughter of Shang Erji came. Today, this product took a bad breath, and it was even lighter and lighter. The whole mace was almost smashed by Kong Sao. Now, the gas is out, I'll go back first. After sharing the booty, Yi Chen patted his and stood up, wanting to go back as soon as possible to upgrade Shi Zishuan to a prefecture level, and Chu Xuaner only gave he went down the mountain for a day and was late to go back. Don't. The three took hold of Yi Chen. There is also the boy from Qiong, who brought him over and got a big vote. Xie Yun said resentfully, he is ranked 8th among true disciples in the inner door, and the treasure must be very rich, and he was robbed. Speaking of Qi Yang, Huo Teng and Shang Er's eyes also brightened. Qi Yang is not comparable to those of Kong Sao and Zhang Yang. As a true disciple of Heng Yizong's 9 masters, they are all treasures. I say you are not sick. Yi Chen gave the 3 of them a white look. Are you guys addicted? Is Qi Yang the one we can provoke? Even if I bring him in, you think that, with 4 of us, did he do it? Quote, how do you know if you don't try it? Your iron whip is so overbearing, so you can beat him a few more whip. The 3 of them were really robbed, and their heads were hot, staring at Yi Chen. Don't pull those who are useless. Yi Chen said angrily, Qi Yang can become one of the true disciples of Hengyu's 9 great masters. Is it so simple? Once his magic weapon comes out, I'm afraid we can't keep it up. Quote, big deal. The 3 dug out their ears. I'm going to suffer you, I'm not free. Yi Chen said, raising his feet and kicking people. Don't. Shang Er grabbed Yi Chen in a hurry, then put a chubby finger. One time, the last time, we won't rob Qi Yang, rob others. Just this time. Yi Chen was still relaxed after all. Okay, change me to attract people this time. Shang Er volunteered, saying that he had twisted his chubby body and jumped out of the cave. After Shang Er left, Huo Teng and Xie Yun ran out in sequence. Seeing this, Yi Chen also rubbed his eyebrows and followed, and went to the ambush site that had been discussed in advance and waited. Night fell into a brief silence. I don't know how long it took before Huo Teng stood up, stunned outside the cave, and muttered in a low voice, I haven't come yet. Maybe it's dark, Xie Yun groaned. As for Yi Chen, she was already asleep under a big tree. Roar. Suddenly, a roaring beast roar rang. Let Yi Chen Ji-ling open his eyes, then shook his head and looked at Xie Yun and Huo Tang. Did you hear any roar? How can there be any roar? Fuss. Huo Tang and Xie Yun glanced outside and said one after another. I heard it wrong. Yi Chen drew her ears and leaned against the big tree again. Roar. However, as soon as he lay down, the roar of the cricket beast sounded again. Hearing the sound, Yi Chen jumped up, startled Xie Yun and Huo Tang. Don't be surprised. There is really a roar. Did you hear it? Yi Chen looked at Xie Yun and Huo Tang again. No. Xie Yun and Huo Tang shook their heads. Strange. Yi Chen touched his chin, and it was certain that the roar did exist, extremely vague, and I do not know where the source is, and the roar was very weird, and it had a deceptive magic. Here it is. Xie Yun reminded him aside, and Huo Tang had already pinched his own sledgehammer. As for Yi Chen, he also temporarily closed his mind and took out the iron whip dedicated to hitting the soul. Help! Soon, the roar of Shang-Er crying and howling came, and his rolling figure quickly appeared in the eyes of the three. Seeing this, the three of them looked at each other and looked behind Shang-Er, wanting to see who this little fat man attracted. However, when the three looked at it, the corners of their mouths twitched more than 10 times. Bye! Xie Yun yelled, and without a word, Sarah ran away. You scum! Huo Tang also scolded and followed Xie Yun and ran away. Bare fat man, your daddy's goods. Yi Chen also snorted, and turned and ran faster than the rabbit. Chapter 138, Collective Captivity. Help! The quiet inner gate behind the mountain was broken by the howl of ghosts crying wolf. Shang-Er looks like a meatball, crawling and screaming, running and yelling. His body is very embarrassing. As for Yi Chen, they have already run away. Why run? It is not because Shang-Er attracted too many people. Looking at it, there are as many as 100 mouthfuls. One head is suspended from a silver tower. If you look closely, it is not the ranking of the 9 true disciples of Heng Yuzong. 8th Qi Yang. Run. Can this not run? Facts have proved that Yi Chen and the others are very well aware of how to slap them away, and not to mention Qi Yang, but to say that there are nearly 100 people behind him. It would be strange if they were surrounded and not killed. Help! Behind him, Shang-Er twisted his obese body, and drove all the way, catching up with Yi Chen. Daddy, fat man, you're just a father. Yi Chen, Xie Yun, and Huo Tang scolded as they ran behind the mountain. I led Yang Wei, who knew everyone followed. Shang-Er hurriedly called injustice. Get off, I don't want to talk to you. The three Yi Chen scolded one after another, and there was an impulse to kill Shang-Er on the spot. Especially Huo Tang and Xie Yun, the heart was depressed, and people Yi Chen went to attract people, all one at a time. You'd better, and I'll give Lao Su more than 100 people, which is also attractive, and your sister's too lawless. 4 seniors, so anxious, where is this going? Behind him, Qi Yang's laughter came. Then, a silver mang crossed the sky and looked closely. It was Qi Yang's silver pagoda. The silver pagoda trembled. It became huge quickly. Can silver plummeted. The power was extremely strong, and the pressure of terror enveloped Yi Chen's 4 people instantly, and the boulder was crushed on the spot. The chirping of the sword sounded instantly. Xie Yun, the only true state of the 4, moved, and the eyebrows flickered with spirit light. His magical sword flew out to protect the 4. I can't help it. Qi Yang, who was catching up with a smile, immediately pressed his silver pagoda Ling Tian. LB. The spirit sword collided with the silver pagoda and was bounced off the spot. Even Xie Yun and the 4 of them were knocked out. This kid is not so strong. Xie Yun wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, and Yi Chen was both dizzy and shocked. This is the gap between the realm of human beings and the real world. A spirit artifact is enough to suppress it. People. At this moment, the 4 talents are suddenly awakened, and the little tricks that affect their nerds have already been spotted, otherwise it would be a coincidence that so many inner disciples appeared at the same time behind the inner gate. This is a premeditated plan to wipe them out. Go. Without stopping, the 4 turned and ran. Behind him, Qi Yang followed a ghost, and behind him, nearly 100 people came in like a tide. Separate, don't get carried away, Yi Chen said immediately after glancing behind him. The three knew, and instantly changed direction. However, what made Yi Chen mistaken was that although the four of them were separated, almost no one went after Xie Yun. Instead, a large number of people went straight to him, including Qi Yang. After a while, Yi Chen gave a sudden asterisk in his heart, only to find that the inner disciples who were chasing him behind were basically those who had been sent into the wilderness a few days ago, and Yang Wei was among them. Even Zuo Qiuming, who was seriously injured, also came. Well, isn't it a good idea? Yi Chen cursed, speeding up sharply. He can see that these people are coming at him. Like Xie Yun, they are all playing soy sauce. Obviously, Xie Yun and the three of them also saw it. For the whole 100 people, they basically chased Yi Chen, and behind them, few people chased. What do you mean? Xie Yun's eyes turned round and he stopped his body. In the other two directions, Shang'er and Huo Tang also stopped. Seeing the overwhelming crowd of people rushing to Yi Chen, they coughed, especially Shang'er, rubbing it hard holding his own eyebrow. How do I feel that I really pitied Yi Chen's kid? Don't do anything, kill it back. Xie Yun moved first, cursing, I will not chase Lao Su will trouble you in the back. Boom. In the distance, the roaring, the fastest Qi Yang, has caught up with Yi Chen. The silver pagoda swept out a silver on, cut off a piece of towering ancient wood, and a huge stone was crushed into **** on the spot. Seeing Yin Meng sweeping, Yi Chen turned his hands and took out the tentacles, and ran across in front of him. LB. The sound of a metal collision sounded instantly, and it was comforting to see how hard Tian Li was, but Rao was so shocked that he also flew out. Qi Yang was obviously more horrible than Zuo Qiuming. Where can you escape? Qi Yang's laughter approached indefinitely, and the light of the silver pagoda was even more dazzling. Yes, this planned action was planned by him. He also recruited a large group of people. His cousin Qi Hao was not treated lightly by Yi Chen, and his reputation in the Qi family in southern Xinjiang was wiped out. He Qi's leaders naturally found their place. It turned out that his plan was still very successful, at least they caught Yi Chen off guard. Boom. Rumble. The roar continued. Yi Chen did not dare to relax for a moment, and every time he just left, a place where he had stood before was punched out. He is going to flee, he must be fleeing, not to mention that he is still being suppressed by the Moon Shadow 7-star ring, and even Qi Yang alone is not what he can compete with, not to mention that there are so many people behind him who want to settle accounts disciple. If there is a bird's eye view from behind, he is chasing the 100 man behind him, like a large net, to surround Yi Chen in the center. This is the back mountain of the inner gate. Although it is also under the jurisdiction of Zongman's enchantment, if it is caught up, it will be disabled if it is not killed. In his mind, Yi Chen glanced at the empty silver pagoda from Qiang. The pagoda was not ordinary and arrogant. Even Xie Yun's spirit sword in the real sun was blown away, let alone him. Ningqi's state. It must not be held down by that pagoda, otherwise the trouble will be big. Yi Chen speeded up again. It was just that he had just stepped out, and the Moon Shadow 7-star ring on his wrist buzzed and trembled, and then the second star on the Moon Shadow 7-star ring lit up. I rely. Yi Chen couldn't help but swear, are you sincere, are you at this time? Suddenly, the weight of the Moon Shadow 7-star ring increased to 1,000 kilograms, which was adapted to the weight of 500 kilograms. The Moon Shadow 7-star ring increased its weight on its own, and Yi Chen instantly felt that the suppression force had doubled, and the speed and strength were greatly reduced. Sudden changes have caught Yi Chen off guard, and his speed of escape has been restricted. Sky. Qiang's pagoda swept down the silver mang again. Boom. On the spot, a huge rock was crushed on the ground, and Yi Chen, whose speed was controlled, flew out. Aren't you running? The sound of drama abuse. Qi Yang rushed into the wind, the imperial pagoda Ling Tian came. Kong Long. Yi Chen yelled, and immediately waved his arm. Kong Long hit the sky with one palm. Although Long Yin's voice was magnificent, his peak hit was obviously not enough to see under the silver pagoda. The golden dragon shadow was crushed on the spot, and he had not yet stabilized his shape, and was shocked to fly out again. It's too weak. Qi Yang came slowly, with a playful smile on the corner of his mouth. He did not immediately suppress Yi Chen, but was not impatient. He seemed to enjoy Yi Chen's woeful end. There is a kind of special magic weapon. It is a real Yangjing state. Use it on a condensed gas state, but also shamelessly. Yi Chen cursed again, and slipped away again. Zhejiang is useless to me. Qi Yong laughed with a big smile and a big move. The silver pagoda Ling Tian fell down. The silver pagoda buzzed and trembled, and the silver spirit was dazzling, and Yi Chen really felt the horror of the silver pagoda, only feeling that a huge stone in his head was pressed down, and he could not breathe. Chapter 139. Upgrade Kui Lei. At the moment of crisis, Yi Chen turned his hands and took out the black iron whip, and throbbed fiercely. LB. The iron whip collided with the silver pagoda, making a dull noise. Puff. Suddenly, Yi Chen spurted blood, and his entire arm became bloody. What? Then, Qi Yong screamed, holding his head in both hands, blood overflowing in his eyes, and his head was roaring. Okay. Seeing this, Yi Chen froze and subconsciously looked at the iron whip in his hand. In an instant, he wanted to understand that the iron whip ability is dedicated to hitting human souls, and that silver pagoda is Qi Yang's innate magic weapon, which is connected with Qi Yong by his soul power. In the sense, it also impressed Qi Yang's soul in the silver pagoda. Obviously, Qi Yong did not expect Yi Chen to have such a weapon dedicated to the soul, otherwise he would not be recruited. You are a real baby. He kissed the iron whip severely, and he turned and ran. Although Qi Yong was hurt by surprise, but he was still in the realm of the sun. The iron whip only made him briefly dizzy. Yi Chen, you it. Qi Yong, who was sober from the vertigo, was furious, and no longer had the kind of mischievous smile, and rushed to Yi Chen like a demon. Boom, rumble, soon, the angry Qi Yong used mystery to chase behind Yi Chen and enlarge his life. Ahead, Yi Chen was very wolf-shaped. What's more nonsense is that he has been surrounded by many insiders. Yi Chen, see how you escaped today. On the face of it, a dozen inner disciples gathered around. The first one was Yang Wei, who had suffered a huge loss in Yi Chen's hands in the barren forest. Go to your mother. Yi Chen jumped and killed an ape in front of Yang Wei, waiting for Yang Wei to perform mystery, and smashed his head with a whip. What? Suddenly, Yang Wei screamed, "Chi Chao bleed," and fell to the ground holding his head. Stop him. Zhuoqi sounded, and on the slanting side, Zhuo Qiuming killed him with a magic weapon hanging over his head. Kong Long. Yi Chen's blood was soaring into the sky. Kong Long retreated from Zhuo Qiuming with a single palm, and then moved the iron whip in his hands. What? Next? The screams kept ringing. Yi Chen carrying the iron whip was extremely fierce, but the inner disciples who came up around him were slammed one by one fiercely by him, and rushed out of the encirclement. Boom, rumble. On a silent night, the mountains behind the inner gate are extremely unsettled, and the eyes are full of mess. I do not know when. The roar of the inner gate behind the mountain gradually annihilated, mainly in the presence of Yi Chen disappeared, so that more than 100 people have no target. Give me the exit of Haoshan, he must still be Haoshan. Qi Yong screamed, his face a little scary. Others, give me an inch of search, I'll see when he can hide, and go and invite Yang Bin to me. Quote. Yang, brother Yang Bin. The disciples around were stunned, but when they saw Qi Yang's face, they didn't talk. Yang Bin, the seventh true disciple of Heng Yizong, ranked 7th, 1 point better than him. Need to send a true disciple to catch a condensate? The answer is yes. Everyone knows that Qi Yong is really angry this time. He was one of the 9 true disciples of Hengyu, plus more than 100 inside disciples, and hit the middle of the night. Instead of taking down Yi Chen, he let him slip away. For him, this was the greatest shame of my life. Going to Yang Bin to help out is enough to prove that Qi Yong attaches great importance to Yi Chen. A true disciple can't figure it out, so call another. Soon, more than 100 soldiers divided into 2 routes, one blocked at the inner door exit, and the other was responsible for searching Yi Chen. How familiar is such a scene to most people? When they were tested in the barren forest, didn't they search for Yi Chen like this? The barren forest is large, but the mountain behind the inner gate is larger. It is not easy to find someone. At this moment, Yi Chen, who was desperately searching for everyone, had dragged his body into a hidden cave. After playing in the middle of the night, he rushed out of the siege several times, and finally managed to get rid of his disciple behind him. Although the iron whip was overbearing, he couldn't hold the other person too much, and he was almost beaten. Don't wait for Lao Su to take it easy. While cursing, Yi Chen quickly sprayed a hidden medicine powder at the entrance of the cave. After doing this, he stuffed 3 Weishuandans into his mouth, and then took out the purple gold gourd to irrigate the spiritual fluid. An hour later, he was awakened by the snoring sound outside the cave. He rolled over and jumped up. He quickly came to the edge of the hole, and then looked out through the gaps of scattered weeds. It was found that 3 inner disciples were searching around, and each person also had a glowing spirit bead suspended. Brother Qiong is really angry this time. The 3 searched and talked. In order to catch Yi Chen, Brother Yong Bin was invited. Yong Bin, Yi Chen, at the edge of the cave, heard the name clearly, as if he knew the origin of Yong Bin in their mouth. The 2 true disciples, you really deserve me. In the heart cursed, Yi Chen carefully retracted back into the cave, and his face became ugly. He knew what he could break through the heavy enclosure several times, but it wasn't the overbearing iron whip. But he even knew that if he was singled out, even if he had an iron whip in his hand, he would still not be able to beat Qi Yong. If he would invite another Yong Bin who was stronger than Qi Yong, this would be the most painful for him. It's over. This time it really fell into the pit. Yi Chen rubbed his brows fiercely. Sooner or later they will find here. I can't beat just one Qiong, let alone another Yong Bin. Bare little fat man, you stubborn, this time you really died of playing. Yi Chen covered her face directly. This time, the crisis was even more severe when the barren forest tested that time. The strong lineup made him unable to mention it. At the slightest war. Under the crisis, Yi Chen Tu's light flashed. I hope it's too late. After closing his mind, Yi Chen thought of it, summoned Zixuan, and then brushed the storage bag with his palm, and the precious materials upgraded for Zizan were also taken out. Upgrade you to Mysterious Magpie, can you help me through the difficulties, right? Yi Chen looked at Zizan eagerly. He knew the horror of Zon-class Magpie, and that Fungying Maggot was a ***** example. If he had accidentally broken the magic charm in Fungying's body, I am afraid he is still being beaten by Yunfang. If it is also Zon-class Magpie, Yi Chendu would have determined that Zizan is stronger than Fungying, because her body is tempered by fairy fire, at least the physical hardness is stronger than Fungying Magpie. Just do it. Yi Chen immediately laid Qi Zixuan flat on a stone. Then, he patted the storage bag, and pieces of luminous materials were suspended on the side of Yun Zixuan. The fairy fire is here. With his mind moving, the fairy fire was summoned. Soon, Jin Xuanwang's fairy fire wrapped Zizan, along with those shiny materials. It is not difficult to upgrade the human-level symbols to Zon-level symbols. It is just that those precious materials are refined into Zizan's body, and then the Julingfu and Xuanlingfu are imprinted on her. Obviously, what Yi Chen lacks now is time, and Qi Yong may find it here at any time. Boy, are you alive? At this point, the voice on Yi Chen's waist lit up, and Shang was talking inside. Bare fat, you're stubborn, I was almost killed by playing. Yi Chen cursed while manipulating the fairy fire. You still have the strength to scold me, then it proves that you are still alive. Shang grinned. We haven't left you. The 3 of us are still in the back mountain. Where are you? Go to you. To the southeast, in a cave. Yi Chen said his position, and he still remembered to curse. This time it is accurate. Don't invite a lot of people to Lao Su. Got it. Chapter 140. Big Dipper. It didn't take long for the 3 wolves to jump into the cave without distinction. Yi Chen glanced at the 3 of them, and found that the goods were not much better. One man had a pair of panda eyes, his nose was swollen and his face was swollen, especially Huo Tang, a large face was distorted. To say that they are still kind of righteousness, if it weren't for the 3 of them jumping out from time to make troubles, it might be difficult for him to break through the encirclement of Qi Yong. What are you doing? Seeing Yi Chen manipulating the fairy fire, the 3 gathered around curiously. Zon Tai Jing, Xie Yun saw a wide range of knowledge, and at a glance he recognized a luminous spar suspended in midair, and his eyes suddenly glowed. As this Shuaisian jade milk? Huo Tang also looked at a suspended spirit milk with big eyes. I trust, isn't this golden dazzling gold silk? Shang Eri's small eyes stared at a bright and shiny gold thread, as if he could recognize it, his eyes focused. The three people's eyesight is still limited, and they only recognize these three things. As for the other materials, they have never been seen before. Where did you get these treasures? At last, the three eyes looked at Yi Chen. Bought it. Speaking of which, Yi Chen could not help but hurt. It cost more than 1,000,000 yuan, most of which was obtained by robbery in the barren forest. Why not say I am so poor now? More than 1,000,000. Hearing the number, Xie Yun's three eyes were straight and they swallowed. Stop that. Yi Chen turned his head and looked at the three. Hear it, Qi Yong has found another true disciple. This is to take us all together. This is Haoshan. Even if they destroy us without fear of Zongmen sanctions, being blocked here, sooner or later. Quote. Then you mean? The three looked at Yi Chen one after another. I have a way to rush you out, Yi Chen said, but I need time. During this period, I don't want to be disturbed. It's easy. Xie Yun patted his chest. It's over to us. Talking, the three jumped out of the cave without distinction. After the three of them left, Yi Chen took a deep breath and increased the intensity of the fairy fire, and then refined the suspended precious materials into Zizan's body very close. He clearly felt the change of Zizan. Time passed slowly and quietly outside. The body lying on the stone is covered with a layer of aura. According to the refining records, Yi Chen used black iron crystals to make bones in her body. The black iron crystals are harder and more mysterious. Iron is best used to make bones of plutonium. Next is the casting of meridians. In Zizan's body, Yi Chen uses the tendons of wild cattle. The combination of these two materials is extremely flexible and difficult to be cut off. Then, Shuaisian jade milk was refined into Zizan's body, helping Zizan to penetrate the bones and meridians. Soon, Yi Chen refined dozens of precious materials into Zizan's body, and even Zizan's missing arm was restored. At this point, Zizan's body has undergone major changes. The entire jade body is covered by a layer of bright aura, and every inch of the body is also shining with light and overflowing with brilliant colors. Well, there is a cave. While Yi Chen was training Zizan's body, a voice came from outside the cave. Fuck, you can all find it. Immediately, it was the wolf howling of Shang. Boom, boom. Suddenly, there was a roar outside the cave. The inner gate disciples were found here. Xie Yun, who was hidden around the entrance of the cave, was caught by surprise. Within 10 seconds, those inner gate disciples were knocked out. Good job, but can you be a little quieter? Yi Chen whispered, it's not good to bring Qiong together. I said, how long will it take you? Shang still couldn't help asking after all, it was just a few tadpoles who just beat Mongolia, we can cope. If Qi Yong kills them, we can't stop them. Quote. An hour, Yi Chen replied as he controlled Shanwo. A lot of valuable materials have been refined into Shi Zixuan's body, and the next step is to imprint the Zan Lingfu and Zhulingfu in her body, so as to maximize the strength of her Zan level. Then you hurry up, I have a bad feeling. Xie Yun whispered, the three were hiding in the weeds so that someone could find them, they could block Yi Chen for a while. The long night was long, and the mountain was quiet behind the inner gate. In a thicket of trees, Qi Yong looked grimly around, hoping to find Yi Chen's figure. Next to him, a young man shaking a folding fan was leisurely, and sometimes he glanced at Qi Yong on the side. He was Yang Bin, the 7th disciple of Heng Yuzong's 9 true disciples. Brother Qi, Nieman Haoshan said that it is not big, that it is not small. Look for it like you, and you may not find it at dawn. Yang Bin smiled quietly, and said freely, and he caught Yi Chen. It seems not as motivated as imagined. Yang Bin, I spent 30,000 spirit stones to invite you, but I didn't listen to your rumors. Qi Yong looked at Yang Bin with a grim face. Yang Bin heard that he wasn't angry at all, but just smiled. When did Qi Yong, the 8th true biography of Heng Yu, become so unbearable, so many people can't catch even a condensed spirit, and they are not afraid of others when they pass it out? Laugh big teeth. Quote. Did you despise me? Qi Yang flashed a cold light in his eyes, his expression became more gloomy. I can't talk about it, let alone I'm telling the truth. Yang Bin shook the folding fan, looked at Qi Yang side by side, his mouth twitched with a playful smile. Add 20,000 spirit stones, I will help you find him. Quote. You have a way to find him. Qi Yang glanced at Yang Bin. 2,000 spirit stones, I can tell you his hiding place very accurately. After hearing this, Qi Yang looked at Yang Bin with a sneer. You already knew where he was. It can be said like this. Why didn't you say it earlier? Qi Yang's voice was a bit cold. If he didn't want to solve Yi Chen as soon as possible, he wouldn't spend money to invite Yang Bin. Now Yang Bin is trying his best with Yang. The benefit, the feeling of being teased by such calculations, makes Qi Yang's face more and more cold. Only 20,000 spirit stones, the young master of the Qi family in the southern Xinjiang will not be so embarrassed. Yang Bin only slightly raised his mouth for Qi Yang's blame. Qi Yang took a deep breath, after all, suppressed the anger in his heart, waved out a storage bag. Yang Bin, I really look down on you. 20,000 spirit stones, tell me Yi Chen's hiding place. It's good to say. Yang Bin took the storage bag, and then pulled out an ancient compass from his sleeve. That compass is indeed old enough, showing the vicissitudes of life, and it is also engraved with a lot of incomprehensible runes. It is such a compass that makes Qi Hao's eyes slightly squinted, and there is a flash of light in his eyes, the Big Dipper 7 stars. Quote. It seems Brother Qi recognizes the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. Yang Bin laughed, and at the same time, he also moved Yinju with one hand. I didn't expect you to have this magic weapon in your hand. Qi Yang's words were quite meaningful. My brother is ridiculous. Yang Bin smiled in amusement, and then pointed at the compass. Suddenly, the compass trembled, and the 7 stars above it lit up indiscriminately. Then, there was an aura of light flying above the compass, condensing into a light curtain in front of them, and the scene in the light curtain was exactly seen behind the inner gate. Through the light curtain, you can clearly see the pictures of every place in Haoshan, and even the inner disciples who are looking for Yi Chen are extremely clear. 7-star positioning, compass-shaped. Only heard Yang Bin secretly uttered 8 words. Soon, the picture of the light curtain changed rapidly, and finally a hidden cave entrance appeared. The cave entrance was covered by weeds, and there were 3 figures hidden in the weeds. It's Xie Yun and the 3 of them. Qi Yang recognized at a glance that the 3 people hiding in the weeds were Xie Yun, Huo Teng and Shang Er. Yi Chen is in that cave. Yang Bin pointed to the cave in the light curtain. Look at how you escaped this time. Knowing Yi Chen's hiding place, Qi Yang suddenly stepped forward, and the note on his waist lit up. Everyone, a cave of 80 feet southeast, Yi Chen right there. Quote, Yi Chen, I want to see how difficult it is for you. Behind him, Yang Bin smiled funny ly, and beckoned to collect the 7 stars of the Big Dipper, followed Qi Yang in a hurry.